have a break glass in case of emergency plan in Michael Penix that doesn't set the franchise back a million years. And in turn, this weekend against the Giants, the Falcons are taking a miserable season and they're turning it into we have a new outlook on life. Now, it's a soft landing for him. He gets to take on the Giants. Me, Billy back at the studio, basically anybody in between would have a decent shot of scoring against the Giants right now. A lot of opportunities to put up some points on the board for Michael Penix in his first start. But if you're one of these other teams, would you trust your team with Kirk Cousins? And the team that has been highlighted the most and linked the most is a team that I'm very, very familiar with as I do radio in Cleveland, in the Cleveland Browns. The team that seems to be heavily linked to Kirk Cousins right now is the Browns because of the relationship with Kevin Stefanski, which, again, does make sense going back to their Minnesota days. Everyone can get on board with how you'd connect the dots. The fact that Deshaun Watson is going to cost a boatload of money for the next 2 years. Kirk Cousins is going to be on the cheap. He's going to be as cost-effective as you can get. More importantly, and this is something that didn't get as many national clicks, but was definitely a big conversation yesterday on my local show, was the idea that Myles Garrett, one of the best pass rushers in the game, the defensive player of the year last year, told the Browns, we need a definitive plan. Told the Browns, we need a definitive plan. I want to win a Super Bowl with you guys, but we need a definitive plan or else I want to be out of here. I want to be traded to a different team. And that's a whole different can of worms that we can open up at some point throughout the show. The idea of one of the premier pass rushers in his prime requesting a trade if he doesn't get a clear-cut plan as to where the Browns are headed. But this would be the incentive. But is it enough? Is it enough if you're Myles Garrett or if you're a fan of the Browns?
We interrupt this regularly scheduled program to bring you this special presentation from Wildcats Radio 1290. Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball begins with Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. The pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're counting down to tip-off of Arizona basketball. This is Wildcats Radio 12.
Lead it off for Love. Open three is up and in. Caleb Love, his first shot. That had to feel good for a guy who's been struggling from outside the arc. Long rebound, snagged by Del Orso. Lead pass down to Jaden Bradley to the bucket, jam it home.
Arizona secure that defensive rebound. Runouts are opportunistic.
That's how you can beat the press. Lead pass all the way to Owaka. Open, slam it.
That's a heck of a pass from Caleb Love, 94 feet.
And it is Basketball Saturday in Arizona, the final non-conference game of this 2024-25 season. Your Arizona Wildcats, for the first time, will take on the Central Michigan Chippewas from the Mid-American Conference. Brought in here by Tony Barbee, their head coach, who has been around the game of basketball for a long time, a legendary front row assistant for John Calipari during his time at Memphis and Kentucky. And Tony has been a head coach in this game at UTEP and Auburn, and now on his third stop at Central Michigan. His Chippewas will bring a 5-5 record into Tucson today, matching the 5-5 record that the Arizona Wildcats will bring into this contest, as both teams look to be over 500 by the end of today. I'm David Kelly, joined as always by my guys. We've got Kelvin Ifan, the captain from 1998. We have got J.W. Madden as well with us for the next 3 hours of exciting basketball pregame festivities. Let's tell you what we've got coming up for you today on the show.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we'll take a review of the win over Samford, not Stanford, on Wednesday night at McHale Center, 96-64. We'll get our first look at Central Michigan, the Chippewas. Spotlight on a cat today. We're going to shine that on T.J. McConnell, who was inducted into the Ring of Honor on Wednesday night prior to that win over Samford. Caleb Love got his game going again. We'll hear from the lead guard for your Arizona Wildcats. A view from courtside. Brian Jeffries will call the game today. You'll hear it right here on Wildcats Radio 1290 and 107.5. We'll talk to Brian on football and basketball. A lot of things happening on the football side with the transfer portal. We'll get Brian's thoughts on that, as well as your best bets for today's game. The big board at the Desert Diamond Casino Sportsbook looks like this. Arizona, a whopping 28.5-point favorite today with an over-under of 153.5. The game will air television-wise over on ESPN+. Darren Sutton, Matt Muehlbach with the call today. As far as the game against Samford, it was a great start for your Arizona Wildcats. They got out on the break, and Tommy Lloyd liked what he saw in that first 20 minutes.
First half, I think we only had 4 turnovers. And, what maybe I can think of, at least I know one was versus the press, that I can think of off the top of my head. We were able to handle the press, get to a little lead. The other thing you got to handle with them is just the changing defenses on the other end. I mean, they 2-3, 1-3-1 zone. They play you man, obviously. So I thought our guys did a good job, handle that for the most part, because, you can't really get in a rhythm calling sets. So you got to rely on concepts and fundamentals. And I thought our guys did a good job of that overall.
The Bulldogs are a team that literally presses from one end of the floor to the next. Trey Townsend felt like the Wildcats were absolutely ready for what they were going to see.
Our scout team did a great job with the pressure throughout the week to try to get us ready for it. To really focus on fundamentals throughout the week, so we were prepared. We knew they were going to be pressing, trapping the whole game. And for the most part, I was happy with how everyone did. They stayed poised, and we were able to kind of beat it with ease for majority of the game.
And guys, attack was what I liked early about the way the Wildcats went after that Samford press.
Yeah, attack with the pass. Those guys were advancing the ball up the court, really, playing hot potato with the basketball, which really frustrates you as a trapping team. You want to play against guys dribbling the ball, dribbling in the trap, dribbling into corners, and our guys were doing the exact opposite. You can tell they put a lot of time into that pressure and that press break, and they was ready for it. I don't remember a turnover off of their pressure.
Yeah, and most teams are trying to speed you up because they're trying to get you uncomfortable. Arizona likes to play fast. They drill playing fast. That's what they like to do. So when you're talking about the ball handling skills of the perimeter players on this Arizona Wildcats team, that's pick your poison, Kelvin. That's just the way that Samford plays. They're not going to switch up their style just because they're playing Arizona, but that was a poor defense to go ahead and full court press the Arizona Wildcats because, like you said, you got to make that defense pay. You make them pay for pressing you because guess what? We can advance the ball by pass. We got skilled players in the perimeter. We're going to score in bunches against that press. And, if a team rolls it out occasionally, Kelvin, they'll probably back off that and say, okay, well, Arizona's scoring a little bit too easy. But that's what Samford does. They just kept pressing. Arizona, only 4 turnovers, really impressive in that first half.
Big game for Caleb Love, 23 points on Wednesday, hit his first shot. We'll get into what all of that meant a little bit later. 43rd game of his career that he has scored 20 or more points. Tommy Lloyd has obviously had to field a lot of questions about Caleb Love and his slow start to this 2024-25 season, but Tommy has been steadfast in his statements that we are not quitting on Caleb Love.
Caleb's a good player, and I'm going to hang with him. It's my job. We're going to hang with him, and I'm not a fair weather guy. I love my players, and listen, I hold them accountable. We have a lot of conversations about things, have the real talks. But this is college basketball, and I don't care if there's NIL involved or what. My job is to kind of help a young man, through tough times and through struggle. That's my job. and I'm going to do that. And you know what? I'll wear it when it doesn't go good, and when it does go good, I won't take any credit for it. I mean, that's just how I'm going to operate. So I'm proud of how Caleb played, but it's one game. Got a game on Saturday. You do it again.
23 points on 7 of 14 shooting, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for Caleb Love. He was just glad to play well.
Thank God. I think, just seeing the ball go through the hoop, that it was a great feeling. But, I give all my credit to my teammates because they put me in position. I was moving a little bit more, and I know I got to do that for the team, for the spacing. And, I just kind of got in the rhythm from there. For sure. I kind of got away from it a little bit towards the end. I'm just glad that, it worked out.
Yeah, and see, the movement is the big thing for me. And that was one of the things just watching that UCLA game, guys, and I talked about it. I just felt like there were times where Caleb was just kind of standing around on offense. They weren't, he was in a corner waiting for the ball versus trying to work to get himself open, them trying to work to get him open. And I sent you guys a play last night that I absolutely loved in the second half of that game where they set up a double screen with 2 of the bigs to get him a 3-point shot out front.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I have been, talking about it. Maybe they was listening a little bit. Nah, for sure not. But I for sure not. But no, that's all I'm saying, man. Give a guy a chance. He's a great shooter. You want to get him in something comfortable where a shot which he practiced every day, a spot at the top of the key. I thought it was a great call. What I love more than anything, and I was being critical of my guy Bradley, is that I put it on him to get Caleb the shots because he's the guy with the basketball. So I loved it that he slowed everything down. He didn't run that normal preset secondary break that they run. He stopped it. He pointed Townsend, hey, remember we worked on this play? Mm-hmm. Go set the screen. I mean, he literally pointed at Townsend and directed him to go set the screen. The second screen was right at the top of the key, set it for him, going into him, came open, wide open, catch and shoot shot, great pass from Bradley, and great setup from Lloyd. That's the adjustments you make because it's one thing to have movement, right, J-Dub? It's one thing to have movement, but real movement, like coming off screens purpose, that's it, where you're coming off screens where if you're not there, it's because they doubled you. Now the big man can slip and you can pass it to him for an easy finish at the basket. Those are the things that we're talking about, the cross screen with Caleb, because that's the next thing now. Caleb has to set the screen because now that's going to open up the big man because they're going to be so worried about Caleb popping open for the catch and shoot 3. So it just goes hand in hand. You work for me, I work for you.
Yeah, back to your original point, DK. We call this a flow offense, but back in junior high school, you were taught the motion offense. It's not called the stand around and watch other players do stuff offense. So back to that UCLA game, if you see a lack of movement among all 4 players who don't have the ball, the issue there, we talked about it at pregame the other day, a lot of that's indecisions based on some of the newer guys who aren't used to, don't have that muscle memory of basically reading and reacting to what the defense is doing. So they might have a cut, Kelvin, that they pass up on. They might need to go set a secondary screen, what they don't do. And so what we saw in this most recent game, clearly you talked about drilling those fundamentals, the fundamentals of making a decision based on what it is, those principles of what you're trying to do within that flow and making it with purpose, like you just said. And it looks so much prettier, double screens from the bigs or not, getting Caleb open or not, everybody moving with a purpose and having the same goal in mind, which is to get an easy bucket. It looks real pretty when it works.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. Now, second half, a few too many turnovers, says Tommy Lloyd.
Obviously, in the second half, we kind of lost our way, and they do that to teams. They kind of wear them down a little bit, and maybe I should have subbed or cycled through, but we didn't get off to a great start. And then I kind of wanted to see if we could build back up a lead before we cycled back through our rotation, and maybe some guys got a little bit tired, but still, that's no excuse for not being tough. I mean, I could think of 2 vivid rebounds where I think Delhi had a rebound and Tobe had a rebound, and they just threw a blind outlet that normally maybe you would feel good about, but against these guys you don't. And they stole both of them and hit a 3. I mean, so, those were disappointing a little bit. And then I just felt, during that stretch in the second half, I think a few guys, Caleb and maybe JB, maybe tried forcing a ball into a small window, and I don't think you need to do that when you're kind of, having a lead. You need to find a ways to be a little more solid.
Guys, they turned it over on 5 straight possessions. 5 straight possessions of sloppy passing. And that just cannot happen when you get into games in the Big 12 Conference. You have got to value the basketball.
Yeah, man, that's that little let up, man. That's that little what we call put that foot on the throat attitude that you have to have as a unit, and they're still trying to develop that. That's what they're working on. That's what they didn't have in the games that we couldn't win. So they're still figuring out that part. I still think that remember I always talk about when you have that alpha dog. I still think that they're still trying to figure out when to go.
I was just about to say, Kelvin, as a vocal leader who had the respect of every locker room you were ever in and led by example, the captain, Kelvin Ifan, in a moment like that, we got 5 consecutive turnovers. How important is to have 1, maybe 2 of those veteran voices bring the guys together and say, okay, we got a 20-point lead. We're throwing the ball all over the place. We scouted this team. We know what they're trying to do. Keep it simple.
Yeah, relax and let's get back to what we were doing and what we were coached to do. Just relax and chill out and take control. So, yeah, that's where you had T.J. McConnell there. That's where you throw the ball to T.J. McConnell, right? Throw the ball to a T.J. and say, hey, get the ball, advance the ball up the court and get us into our offense, okay? So, yeah, man, that's just something to where you can see that they're still learning each other and they're still figuring out, how to play together.
Anthony Del Orso on taking better care of the basketball.
Turnovers is a big thing that we kind of covered, and just like how those turnovers happened, because that's essentially how we lost on points of turnovers and stuff like that. I mean, it's not things that we can't correct, not things that we can't, watch film and get better at. So it's not a problem. It's just like you address it, you make adjustments in practice, and then you get ready for the next.
And speaking of Anthony Del Orso, he got his first start for the Arizona Wildcats. Tommy Lloyd on inserting the junior transfer from Campbell into the lineup.
I don't profess to have all the answers. You guys know I'm not a guy that's really, shakes up starting lineups often. I will once in a while if I think it can help our team. But I just felt like at the start of these games, maybe a little more shooting could help us. And listen, Delhi was shooting coming into the game was 52% from 3. And against UCLA, I didn't get him enough minutes. So, I wanted to see what it looks like with him starting. And, the funny thing is, guys, believe it or not, I don't have the magic picks he does because, he didn't start well, but we did. So, we'll take some positives from that. But, he got to play in the game and he got experience. He's still growing in the program. And, we put him in there at the end. And, I think he was, 1 for 7 from 3 now that I'm looking. And then he hit 2 for 2. So, Delhi's a great shooter. And so, for him and Caleb to have good 3-point attempts is important for our team. And we want those other guys shooting some threes as well, not just them. So, it's a total team effort.
DK, real quick, you got to think about it like T-Max effect on a defense where you've got such a singular dominant player. 52% is on the scout. I don't care if you're coming off the bench or not. So when Delhi's in that game, he may not have started out quickly with his individual stats, but that other guys, Kelvin, got cleaner looks because he was on the court and he was on that scout. Do not leave that guy open.
And I'm going to tell you as a coach, we're sitting there waiting on the starting lineup. You see the starting lineup, that makes you scramble. Now you're telling your guys, hey, they got the shooter in the game. Hey, we got to play them a little more tighter. Now it puts everybody in alarm a little bit because our game plan was something different because we thought you were going to have Carter Bryant and we can double on Caleb the whole, for that whole beginning of the game. But now we come out, we got to play Delhi within a hand's reach because this guy can launch threes and he can get hot and put us out the game. So regardless of if he's making shots or not, the threat of him, as you guys said, 52%, the threat of him making that shot opens up the court for the other guys. The question is going to be, and I do like that Coach put him in a game like this, okay? He didn't put him in against the big dogs in his first start, right? But that's what the question is going to be. When we play the big dogs at the beginning of the game, can he guard the other team's offensive players?
Small forwards are pretty offensively skilled in general at this level.
Because you think about it, in that 3-guard rotation that we had KJ Love as the defensive stopper or Carter Bryant. Now you take both of those guys out. Are you saying Caleb is the stopper or Bradley is the stopper? You want your point guard being the stopper? Okay, so that's Delhi now that has to guard the other team best guard, and that shakes things up a little bit. So got to see how that affects, the team overall against a better team.
Anthony Del Orso getting more comfortable with each game as an Arizona Wildcat.
I mean, as every game goes on, I'm getting more and more comfortable. more confident. You know, that's trusting the guys, trusting myself, them trusting me. You know, it's all about, I see basketball as a very, like, respect, you know, it's a respect kind of aspect to it. Once you kind of prove yourself and the team can see, like, oh, wow, this guy can really do this or that, that's when teams come together. And we're all fine for it. It's not like anyone's, you know, comfortable and solidified, but I'm definitely more comfortable myself, and I definitely trust myself more. Trying to almost get back to that kind of Campbell Deli that everyone's kind of
If I go down to Udall, Kelvin, and I pass the ball to a dude 4 times and he misses all 4 shots, I'm probably not passing it to him that 5th time. So it's like these guys are still figuring each other out. Obviously, they know what Deli can do. They've seen him shoot in practice. They've seen him shoot in a gym by himself with nobody around. They know his stroke is pure. Making those shots, as you said, against the big dogs when you got real defense, that trust is earned by playing against those teams, and you don't get that until you get minutes. So good to see him in that starting lineup and getting extra minutes to get as comfortable as possible. Because as you said 3 weeks ago, along with Caleb Love, Deli might be the best offensive punch when you really need a bucket.
Yeah, and again, this is a young man like several that's come into this program right now, shooting 46% from the field, 48% from 3, 80% from the line. That's pretty good for the time he's been on the floor, but it is a transition coming over from a smaller school like Campbell.
It all takes time. I mean, playing in front of this many, these big crowds and this many people and in the stands, all those things that people don't think about, it takes time. But it's not like I've ever, weird in terms of confidence or like, oh, I don't think I can do this or that. It just takes time. And now I'm the most confident I've ever been. And next week I'll be more confident. So I have no doubts in my
mind. I will
mind.
say this. I don't want to see Caleb Love go 2 for 12 with 10 3-point attempts, Calvin. We talked about that before. Looking at Deli's numbers in that first start, he did take 9 of his shots were 3-pointers, right? 9 of 10 were 3-pointers. Maybe 1 or 2 of those get inside the lane. He's obviously got a nice stroke, but you want to see him be a threat from all positions on the court because he's got some good length. Maybe not great athleticism to finish at that rim, but that mid-range is tight for him.
All right, it is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Wildcats, Central Michigan, Chippewas coming up 2 p.m. tip-off at McHale Center. We've got much more for you straight ahead, along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 1 of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
It's December in Tucson, and yes, it's cold outside, but we're here to help with our $79 furnace diagnostic service special and our $79 water heater flush that includes a free plumbing inspection. Call us at 520-492-0748 or picturerockschooling.com. And on behalf of our entire team, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rockin' K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Back to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Hey, Eugene, we waited a little too long to get our shopping done. The shelves are looking pretty empty.
I was thinking of getting everyone a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
We interrupt Eugene's great idea for this message.
Looking to get on the road but need some maintenance or repairs to your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh to get it road trip ready?
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has some fantastic year-end savings, like $50 back on any $250 purchase. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Blair.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719-1433 or visit online at Meridian Wealth LLC. And as always, bear down, Tucson.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
The Window Depot is more than a window store. The Window Depot is a one-stop warehouse with everything you need for your complete home remodel. Shop the aisles of pre-built cabinets in a variety of colors, granite and quartz countertops, sinks, skylights, and hardware to complete your project. Need a custom order? We can help. Our designers offer free design services and can special order everything you need for your kitchen or bathroom remodel today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Inbounds, Martinez beats the press, get it to Bryant, down the lane and slam it home for Carter Bryant. Why nobody was going to challenge Bryant, and the Wildcats up 18-15.
Our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game is brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com.
Central Michigan, the Chippewas in the house today at McHale Center for a 2 o'clock game. First time that these two teams have ever gotten together on the basketball floor. Looking forward to that for sure. And it is a ball game that, you know, the Wildcats will play their last non-conference game before they get into Big 12 play. So they'll have about 8 full days off before TCU on December the 30th. 6-5 could be the record, and not exactly what we thought that was going to be through this non-conference season, but Caleb Love says still plenty of time for this team to achieve every goal they had to start the season.
I think it's just an opportunity for us to, make this a great story. Like I said, we just got to take it game by game and continue to get better, continue to trust in each other, continue to trust in coach's plan, and, lean on each other as much as we can.
Trey Townsend obviously came from Michigan, played in Oakland of Michigan, which is in the Horizon League, different conference than the Chippewas play in. Trey, not maybe all that familiar with CMU.
Funny enough, at Oakland, I had never played Central Michigan, but we'd always play MAC schools. I know for sure one of the kids on the team had transferred from Rochester University, which is right up the road from Oakland, so I know him very well. I don't know too many people, but like I said, funny enough, I don't know why we never played them, but they're right up there, an hour or two up the road.
Indeed, they are. Central Michigan, Tony Barbee, the head coach. They've got some injuries that they're dealing with as they come in here, so we'll get into that a little bit later in our scouting report. We're going to talk to the voice of the Central Michigan Chippewas later on. Adam Jacksa will join us. That'll be coming up later in the final hour of our program today. Tony Barbee has got a pretty impressive player on his roster, I should say, in Anthony Pritchard. He's was one of the top players in the Mid-American Conference last year. They were able to get him to come back. The interesting, guys, when you look at these conferences, and it's kind of goes to what we've been talking about, of the 10 guys that were on their all-conference first and second teams, he's the only one that didn't either graduate or transfer up to another school to come back to his school. And that's pretty impressive. But that's also, again, what these mid-majors are dealing with, in that if you can play at that level and play at a high level, now you've got your opportunity, like we saw with Trey Townsend. Now, granted, Trey Townsend is a grad transfer. He graduated and then came here, but similar situation, picking guys off from some of these smaller conferences to come up and try to help you.
Kelvin, I mean, I think it's got to be unfinished business. 13 points, 2 steals, 5 assists, and 5 boards. That was his stat line as a junior. Normally, those kind of stats in this transfer portal era are going to maybe get you a look from a smaller major school or whatever, but he's chose to stay at CMU.
Yeah, man, and again, you don't usually get that, but when you get a chance to play your style and play your way, you know, a lot of times that's more valuable to you than just transferring and not knowing how long it's going to take you to get incorporated, or even if they do incorporate you into, you know, exactly what they're doing. So some guys feel like, hey, I'll take the Dame Lillard way or the Stephen Curry way and go to a smaller school and show what I got and see if I can get more opportunities after that.
Tony Barbee on getting Anthony Pritchard back and his approach to coaching at a mid-major.
Smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. Here's a thing with this portal generation, NIL, and all those things. Because I've been in a lot of one-and-done situations, obviously, for who I work for, Coach Cal. I've seen what it looks like to have a new team every year. I got a different look at it. We'll just become the one-and-done program of the mid-majors. That's what we're selling. And so I want these kids, if I've done my job, I want these kids to have an opportunity every year to go in the portal and explore something different, better, and I want them to kick the tires. But that doesn't necessarily mean the grass is always greener. I'm going to be a truth teller. And so with Pritchard, no different than Kevin Miller, Boopy, goes in the portal, kicks the tires, and as Pritchard looked around, he is a smart, intelligent, studied kid. And so when he kicked the tires on what was coming at him, who was recruiting him, he knew as he took in all the information, we left him alone, we let him go through his process, he said, it's not going to be better over there. And just because there might have been more money on the table in terms of NIL situations, it wasn't a better basketball situation for his future. And he knew what he had here coming back. It's his team.
Interesting philosophy there by Tony Barbee. Let's be the one and done program of the mid majors. Let's get some of these kids who can help us win, and let's help get them to the next level.
That's it. That's it. I mean, to me, that's a great coach. Your job is to help a kid advance regardless of where it is. Sometimes it's to another school. Sometimes it's to the pros. Sometimes it's into a great career. But that's just your job, is to try to help them move up in the direction. So, and as a good coach, our job is we love helping the next kid. So, hey, we help this kid get there. Hey, get the next kid. Your job at the end of the day is teacher.
Yeah, and see what we got. See what we did for him. We can do this for you.
Yeah. So if it's one and done, or you stay here 2-3 years, it's whatever. I'm all good. And and that's when somebody care about you. That's what they say. When somebody say, oh, if you're not planning on being here 4 or 5 years, it make you kind of look at them like, I mean, what if a bigger school came to hire you? Would you leave? So you want someone that's, looking out for your future as well as they're looking out for their own.
And everybody, advances through life at different paces. Some guys are just a little immature. Some guys maybe don't have the book smarts. Maybe they don't have the grades going. And so, there's been infinite stories of dudes who were good enough to play at a major school, but had for some whatever reason didn't get there. And in the NIL era, guys, and the exposure era, when you can get 5 million followers on Instagram or some other site, you don't necessarily got to be at Kentucky, Kelvin. I mean, you can get your name out there in today's day and age by playing at any school in America. So as long as you're comfortable, like the young man Pritchard staying at that school, that's his team. He knows what it's all about. He knows what the coaching staff's all about. Good move for him. Somebody else might make a different choice.
And he already transferred before.
Yeah. Tulsa.
He came from
Tulsa.
Tulsa.
Yeah.
So he kind of thinking like some people, don't want 2 or 3, 4 different.
And that's where he's from. He's from Tulsa.
Exactly.
So maybe a little bit too close to home. Needed to get a little bit away.
All right, before we hear from Anthony Pritchard, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day on Wildcats Radio 1290.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the flagship of Arizona Wildcats Athletics. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden, I'm David Kelly getting you set for the Wildcats and the Central Michigan Chippewas from Mount Pleasant, Michigan. We're talking about Anthony Pritchard, the top returning player, one of the top returning players in all of the Mid-American Conference. Among the things, preseason MAC Player of the Year, last year's MAC Defensive Player of the Year. Let's hear from Anthony on why he plays and loves to play at the defensive end of the floor.
It's more of like an excitement. But I like to see like people miserable. Knowing that they can't score me, and then I'm going to come down, and knowing that you can't stop me. So like being able to like make someone miserable on both sides, and just being good at something that's everybody's not good at is something that I take a lot of pride in. And just I know like to win games and cut down nets and stuff, you got to have a great defensive team. So being able to take that role and that responsibility of leading the defense and just showing everybody and teaching everybody the things that I do, I really like take a lot of accountability and stuff for that.
Those cuts from Tony Barbee and Anthony Pritchard coming courtesy of the Field of 68 podcast. They were at the Mid-American Conference Media Day. Of course, one of the hosts of that podcast is Jeff Goodman, a graduate of the University of Arizona. And that's what he's talking about is not easy, guys. I mean, this is your best offensive player, and he's your best defensive player.
I mean, it's not easy, but when you're a competitor, it's just a part of it. I mean, you're D'ing me up, so of course I want to lock you up. That's the way we grew up playing 1-on-1, 2-on-2. And you look at the best competitor in the world, can't really watch the NBA right now, until the playoffs, then you get to see a little better. But when you're watching guys that are really competing, you're going at each other, man. You're trying to lock them up. You're trying to keep him from getting the ball. I'm fouling you. You get a chance to get a layup. I'm going to foul you, send you to the free throw line. You're just being competitive, and that's all that kid is talking about. It's a new thing. It seems like a big deal now because what they say, hustling is a skill now. Playing hard is a skill now. But to me, that's just the way, it's supposed to be, when you're a basketball player.
Yeah. That is Arizona and Central Michigan today at 2:00.
That's been our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game. Brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindow.depot.com.
And don't forget, Window Depot also sponsors your glass cleaner of the game. Could be the Arizona Wildcat with the most rebounds. Could be the Arizona big man or little man with the most impactful boards. We'll tell you the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game coming up tonight. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, the post-game show after Central Michigan and the Wildcats. Much more straight ahead. This is Arizona Game Day. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Did you know collecting sports cards is one of the fastest growing hobbies around? Whether you're looking to start or expand your collection, Showtime Cards is your ultimate destination. As one of the leading card shops in the country, they've been serving our community for over 25 years with the best in sports cards and trading card games. From rare finds to the latest releases, Showtime Cards has it all. Check them out at ShowtimeCards.com or visit them today at 5801 East Speedway. And discover why collectors everywhere trust Showtime Cards for their passion.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Thama Autumn Nation.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Discover Rocking K, a community designed by nature, built for you. Embrace the beauty of the Rincon Mountains' high desert foothills. Explore natural open space, a network of connecting trails, and a community park. Bordering Saguaro National Park, Rocking K is conveniently located to our region's major employers and nationally recognized Vail School District. Tour 10 model homes by 4 award-winning builders and discover why more people are calling Rocking K home. LiveRockingK.com. Proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcast.
With cooler weather on the way, many of us are turning on our furnaces for the first time this season. We hope everything runs smoothly, but if you notice strange noises, frequent cycling, or no heat at all, give Rightway a call. Right now we're offering a complete system tune-up for just $65, plus a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Don't wait till it's too late. Call Rightway, 520-549-1914 to schedule your $65 complete system tune-up.
Do you trust those in charge of your financial future? Trust is founded on 3 core principles: competence, honesty, and benevolence. Those making decisions about your financial future should always place your best interest ahead of their own. I'm Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, fostering trusted relationships with our clients is our top priority. Call us at 719-1433 or visit meridianwealthllc.com to learn more today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
UNLV with the rebound. And the outlet is stolen by McConnell to the bucket, and it's good.
McConnell is going to become known for that.
Davis stops elbow, has it knocked away, goes back to save the ball, but T.J. McConnell diving for the ball, picks it up, throw it ahead to York. Gabe will drive the other way, slam it down.
Credit T.J. McConnell. That dive, Brian, would have made Willie Mays happy or Johnny Bench.
Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
T.J. McConnell back in the building this past week. His name raised into the Ring of Honor right next to Kenny Lofton's 10th season this year in the National Basketball Association. He started 76 games at the University of Arizona over 2 seasons. They played in 38 games in each of those 2 seasons that TJ was on the squad, averaged 9 points, 6 assists, grabbed 4 rebounds, shot 34% from 3 and 47% from the floor during his time. He also had 2 steals per ball game during his time here at the University of Arizona. And he met with the media to talk about what going into the Ring of Honor means to him.
TJ, what did it feel like to be back on the McHale Center court, knowing why you were here?
It was special. Just coming back and seeing the fans and everyone part of the program and people that worked here when I was here. No other way to describe it. It was just special, and I'm really happy to be back.
When you last played a game here, and did you think that 10 years later something like this was possible?
No. I didn't even know I'd be playing professional basketball. So, the world works in mysterious ways. I've been incredibly blessed. But to come back here 10 years later and be in the Ring of Honor, can't really put it into words.
You had a lot of memorable moments here. Any ones stick out?
I would probably say when I kissed the A on senior day, and just wanted to try to recreate that moment and show appreciation to this amazing university and the best fans in college basketball.
Can you talk about your stretch here? I think you 69 and 9, so whatever it was, just that 2-year stretch where they didn't lose very much.
Yeah. Like you said, it was like 69 and 9. I think that's a testament to the type of coach Coach Miller is and the players that I was, fortunate to play alongside of. So I have to give all the credit to them, and because it was a collective effort.
Did you have a chance to go in and talk with the team beforehand?
No, we got here basically right as I was supposed to go out, so I wasn't able to talk to him, no.
Have you kept up with the team?
A little bit. I talked to Justin Kokoski, Brian Brigger, Coach Murph. They keep me up to date with, what's going on in the team and stuff.
I think 2 people believed in you, that you would do this. Coach Miller, who said it a lot, and probably you, maybe, despite what you said. Would it be storybook to say that this has happened this way?
Maybe. It was definitely more Coach Miller believing in me than me believing in myself, especially playing in the NBA. You never know. But he instilled that confidence in me and saw it from day one. That's why we're so close to this day.
Were you down here last year for Ben's?
Yep. We were able to come for that.
What's it been like playing with him, his career that you've seen so far?
I mean, he's been amazing. He just continues to get better. Unfortunately, he went down with an injury last year and had to watch from the sidelines, but he's worked on his game all summer, and you can see it by how well he's playing.
Do you have advice for guys like you or similar situation to get to the level that you've become, even not 10 years, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, the advice for someone in my shoes, 10 years ago, is that anything's possible. There's going to be a lot of naysayers along the way that are going to tell you you're not good enough in whatever you do. But if you put your head down and go to work, anything's possible. I feel like I'm living proof of that.
You're also living proof that there is still a place for the traditional point guard in the NBA. Do you feel like that is still going to be a thing moving forward here?
I don't know. I mean, the league is ever changing. I mean, it's teams are getting up 63s a game, and I've tried to adapt as much as I can, but also remain who I am. So, if you try to change too much, it can kind of end up hurting you in the long run. So, kind of like I said, just remaining who I am and do what I do best.
You have another 10 in you?
I definitely do not have another 10 years in me now. I've got 4 years after this, and then kind of see what happens after that.
What do you think is the biggest factor that has enabled you to have such a long and prosperous NBA career?
I alluded to in your last question, just doing the things that got me there. and playing my role. I think that's another thing that gets lost in the shuffle. The guys that last the longest are the ones that adapt to change and do their role at 100%. You may not like your role, but you have to be a team guy and go out there and do the role to the best of your ability, and that's what I've tried to hang my hat on.
This might be another dumb question, but do you miss this place?
Yes, very much so. Just coming back and just hearing the ovation and seeing the love from everyone. I played here a long time ago, it seems, and that love has never gone away. So I love this university, this place, these fans, this program. It's a special place for me.
You still keep in touch with Coach Miller a lot?
Yeah, I do.
You been over to Xavier at all?
I haven't. I was in a wedding of Dave Miller. He was a roommate of mine, and he was a manager here and a GA when I was here. So they showed me around a little bit there, but haven't been able to go to a game there, no.
U of A fans still feel the sting of those losses in the Elite Eight. What if, if you had won, you would have made the Final Four? Is that something that you ever think about still?
For sure. I go down the rabbit hole sometimes of watching those games, and it's painful, especially my junior year, the controversy of that call, but we won't get into that one. But to be in those positions, you can't ask for any more. Back-to-back Elite Eights. There's 2 special runs. So, obviously we wanted to get to a Final Four, but ball didn't bounce that way.
If Ashley doesn't break his foot, different season?
Oh, 100%. Unfortunate, but like I said, that's part of the game. And but if we had him throughout the year, and especially in that game, I think things are a bit different.
When you were playing here, did you ever look up at the Ring of Honor and think about, like, hey, I'd like to do that someday, and what would be the path for me to do that?
Yeah. You look at it all the time as a player, or at least I did, because you see all the names, you see the jerseys that are retired. There's a lot of great players up there. So the fact that my name is next to theirs, it's just an incredible honor. I didn't think my name would go up there when I was in the moment, if I can be honest with you, but just kind of was focused on doing all I can for our team. And like I said, this game and life works in mysterious ways if you do things the right way.
Anything else? All set? TJ, congratulations, and thank you for taking time.
All right. That was TJ McConnell at his press conference the other night at McHale Center. Just great to see him back. Like I've said, really the first guy that I've covered here at the University of Arizona that's had a long career. I mean, you talk about Ben. Ben obviously got inducted early in his NBA tenure based off what he did in college, and those are the different ramifications, the different things that allow guys to get in to the Ring of Honor here. Some will get in on what they did in college. Others will get in on what they did in the pros, and that is more so TJ being honored for the fact that he is playing 10 years in the NBA. And again, there's not a lot of guys in that club that were able to play 10 years in the National Basketball Association. It'd be interesting to just kind of go and look at each one of those guys in the Ring of Honor, whether they were Player of the Year in college, that's why they're in, whether they're in because of the 10 years in the NBA. But a tremendous honor for him as a kid that, like I said, nobody really thought that would be where he would be 10 years after leaving the University
looking
of
at this list, there's only one player, Kelvin, I didn't watch play every single game in McHale because Bob went up first, and then the second guy was Steve Kerr, and then there was Sean Elliott, Judd Bushler, Sean Rooks, all those guys. It's a memory for me. It's a trip back in those teams that you watched that brought you to Tucson. I mean, that fun style basketball they were playing in the late 80s, early 90s. So many great names up there, and to me, TJ just epitomizes everything that the point guards that came before him brought, which was leadership and the ability to get wins at whatever cost. I mean, you might see flashy Damon highlights. You might see Steve Kerr shooting from 30 feet. That's not what defines a point guard here. What defines it, Kelvin, is a guy who understands his personnel and understands what it takes to get wins and win championships.
Yeah, and he was a guy that was very successful. I thought that he was to me, everybody says, what was he special? And I thought that a lot of people can relate. When you see TJ, you can see yourself. that you could be out there playing hard and diving on the floor and being a general on the floor and making key shots in the game. So I think he was the people's champ, type of guy. So to see him play 10 years in the NBA and to get in that way, a lot of people may compare it to a guy like Stanley. Well, different situation because of where you're drafted at. A lot of times a free agent that with TJ's hustle could stick around a little longer than a first-round guy just because of the money that guy got in the beginning.
The most games played of an Arizona Wildcat alum that went undrafted in the National Basketball Association, 654 career games so far. He's a handful of games, about 30 behind Aaron Gordon, who went into the league the year before he did. Currently 12th on the all-time list in terms of games played in the National Basketball Association of players that played at the University of Arizona. So let's see. He's sneaking up on about 70 games behind Judd Buechler. He'll probably pass him next year, and about 100 games behind Sean Elliott right now, who played 742 games in the league. So he could sneak into the top 10 in terms of games played in the next couple of years if he continues to play. I think he has a 4-year deal. So, like he said, 4 more years. Maybe that might be he's, 20 or 33, I believe, now. Years of age is TJ.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. 32. He'll be 33 in March. So 33 at the end of this season. So, yeah, he could play into his late 30s for sure. He looks like he's in great shape still.
And go right into being the head coach, JJ Redick.
Exactly. And hasn't really had a lot of injuries. No. Which is good as well. In fact, here's let's hear from Tommy Lloyd, who, again, talked at length about T.J. McConnell and if there's still a place in the NBA for classic point guards like T.J. McConnell.
Absolutely. But it doesn't need to be cookie cutter. And there's one Ja Morant, and so there's going to be other opportunities for other guys. And Coach Rounds and I were talking earlier, just a few minutes ago, and, TJ's real talent because he figured out how to get everything out of his ability. That's real talent. If you have talent and you don't know how to get it, what is that? It's kind of a mirage. So he's real talent. He's real talent. That dude's real talent. He's tough as you-know-what and gets everything out of himself and his teammates. The dude's a stud. And we need a little more TJ McConnell on our team because it's hard. It's hard to give everything you got. It's hard to give everything. It's really hard. To do that and just to have, because you know what? It's painful. And failure comes with it. And like the physical exertion you have to get to compete like that is not easy. So I just don't think many people have that in their DNA or the wherewithal to do it. That's why it's so difficult. I've been around some guys that have done it, but I've probably been around more players that haven't done it than players that have done it. So I think a guy like TJ McConnell, you should absolutely just tip your cap to him and say, good for you. And I need a little more TJ McConnell in my life. We need a little more TJ McConnell on our team. And that's absolutely 100% true. I remember, back in the day, we played a pretty big game here. I can't remember one year. You guys will probably remind me. 14. T.J. McConnell versus another kid named Kevin Pangos. Wow. 2 complete studs getting after it. And they both went on. And, Kevin had a, cup of coffee in the NBA, but crushed it in Europe at the highest levels. And TJ's, obviously he had, a lot more. He's had a full keg in the NBA. So, good for him. But those 2 guys are studs. And any college basketball coach that could get a player like that would wrap their arms and take him in a second.
A full keg in the NBA. I love that.
That's not the same beverage as coffee, though, there, Coach. To me, Avery Johnson, Kelvin, is the one guy I think of who had such longevity as a, quote, what does that mean? True point guard is a guy who really can't get buckets on their own. Really, if you want to break it down in the modern game, what that means. TJ, one thing TJ has never added to his game is being a knockdown 40+% three-point shooter. That's the only thing. But Kelvin, in the modern game, so rare for a dude to have a 10-year career, be as effective as he is in his stints on the court. dominates at times. If you watch recently, TJ's out there dominating and is not a knockdown three-point shooter. Rare in modern NBA to have a guy like that who can still find those passing windows that aren't created by his threat to knock down open looks from the outside.
Well, you got to take your hats off to the Pacers organization for giving a guy an opportunity that plays that way, because it's a lot of guys out there that play that way. They just don't want them. They don't want those guys that play in the mid-range.
You got to have spacers, right?
Yes, they got to have spacers. I mean, so he actually, by other teams not having guys that can actually check him, that what makes things easier for him. How many small guys like TJ do you see? He's mostly going against 6'4", 6'5" guys that can't stay in front of him.
Yeah.
So he just uses his speed and toughness, because I'm sorry to say, a lot of those guys are used to being prima donnas, and he uses that against them by just being aggressive, like a strong safety out there on the football field, just being aggressive and attacking those guys, and they don't like it, especially on the defensive end. I mean, it is hilarious for me to see him full court pressure and some of these athletes that he's pressuring. There's no way he should be able to do it.
And they look uncomfortable. It's rare to see a point guard in the NBA at that level look uncomfortable by pressure defensively, because they got there being able to dribble through a subway, right? Like, that's the whole thing. But TJ still puts fear in dudes, Kelvin, when he matches up with them full court.
He's like Chester. He's a hard tester. And that's what he do. He get up and test guys hard. He get up and try to change your speed and he knows exactly what you want to do, and he just gets up in you, man. And every crowd loves that. That right there make you a hometown favorite right there. Make the crowd love you, because when you get up and just make that extra effort, it's just something about having that guy on your side.
Real quick, DK, you mentioned yesterday on the show, I think, that big shout out to TJ's sister, Kelvin, Megan, who's currently a fifth-year senior at Duquesne, same place TJ came from, leading the nation in steals per game, 4.5 steals per game. Whoa. TJ's sister this year is averaging. Talk about defense. It runs in the family.
Yeah. And you mentioned Avery Johnson. You weren't here after the show the other night. We talked about the greatest non-drafted players in the NBA, and that was Kelvin's number one. Was Avery Johnson.
Yeah, it's got to be Ben Wallace or Avery Johnson.
Ben Wallace was the guy that was number one.
Ben Wallace is the guy most people think of. Yeah.
Point
guard, Avery, yeah.
There you go. All right.
And why wasn't he drafted? Because he couldn't shoot. Like, that's it. Like, you talk about, like, in the modern game, if you got a point guard who's not 6'5", Kelvin, is maybe a little bit under 6 feet and isn't a knockdown outside shooter, you got to earn that spot. Avery did that. TJ did that. That's just pure will.
Shining that spotlight on TJ McConnell.
That's today's Spotlight on a Cat has been brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is just getting started. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 1 of the pregame show is brought to you by Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams Southern Arizona, the Window Depot, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer-installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
We return now to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Eugene, it looks like we waited a bit too long to get our shopping done. These shelves are pretty empty.
Yeah, Doug, looks like everything got sucked up into that great big cyber savings vortex. But I've got another great idea.
We interrupt Eugene's great ideas for this commercial message.
Trying to get on the road but need some maintenance or repairs to get your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh road trip ready?
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has some fantastic year-end savings, like $50 back on any $250 purchase. When you pay with your Jack Furrier card, you save big.
Whether it's tires, maintenance, or auto repair, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has you covered. We can get your vehicle road trip ready and save you some big bucks.
So, Eugene, what was that great idea of yours anyway?
I was thinking about getting everybody a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
Thanks, Eugene. And for everyone else, there's Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
The Window Depot is more than a window store. The Window Depot is a one-stop warehouse with everything you need for your complete home remodel. Shop the aisles of pre-built cabinets in a variety of colors, granite and quartz countertops, sinks, skylights, and hardware to complete your project. Need a custom order? We can help. Our designers offer free design services and can special order everything you need for your kitchen or bathroom remodel today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rockin' K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
JT Auto, where customers are family. Trust your vehicle to JT Auto professional and reliable automotive repair and maintenance services. JT Auto is conveniently located off Fort Lowell and Country Club. Open Monday through Friday. JT Auto is a full-service auto shop with satisfaction guaranteed, offering you the best in tires and wheels, auto repair, oil changes, computer diagnostics, suspension and brake service, and heating and AC. Bring your car to JT Auto, where customers are family. 623-7066. That's 623-7066.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for two. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Right away for Lucas Walls. Has the ball knocked away, stolen. Love with it for Arizona. Caleb down, stop, pop a three in transition, and he's got it. Timeout. Semford, as the Wildcats have built their biggest lead now. Bradley pounding the dribble out center circle. Gets it off to Love. Straight away three. Up and in. Caleb Love feeling good tonight. That's a 20-point effort now.
And Caleb Love would finish with 23 points on the night, his second highest scoring output of the season for the Arizona Wildcats. Had 24 in the loss to West Virginia earlier this season down in the Bahamas. Welcome back to Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Wildcats and the Central Michigan Chippewas. We've got about 2 more hours with you. Tip-off coming up at 2 o'clock over at McHale Center, the final game before the Christmas holiday. And then the Wildcats will be back on the floor December the 30th to open up Big 12 play against TCU. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up in this hour of the show.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
We'll hear from Caleb Love on his 23-point performance, what allowed him to get going and more aggressive at the offensive end of the floor. Brian Jeffries will join us with your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates. Carter Bryant got a little bit of a new role Wednesday night against Samford. We'll hear about that as well. College basketball and football scoreboard straight ahead. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers, will bring you that. Kelvin's a little unhappy because his Dallas boys are letting this game get away in Happy Valley right now. They're about to go down 28-0 here if Penn State punches it in again. These first two games have not been real competitive, which is obviously going to get people talking about the teams that should have been in and the teams that got in and who deserved to have bids and all of that after Indiana didn't really hang well with Notre Dame, and SMU is not really hanging well with Penn State.
So the Hoosiers haven't beaten the Fighting Irish since the 1800s. So anybody who thought that was going to be a competitive game, history proves otherwise.
Only thing I say is this, is the home game in the playoffs in college. I just feel like it should be a neutral site.
Well,
I don't know.
I get the first round. I mean, again, I think this is one of the things I actually like about it. I mean, the first round here, home games, and then you go to the bowl sites. And what I also like about the way they set up the initial bowls is they've kind of made it like it used to be. You're going to get Georgia's in the Sugar Bowl, which is, as the SEC champion, that's where they would have normally played. You've got Oregon in the Rose Bowl, which is where they normally would have played. And that was my whole thing when I talked about an expanded playoffs. I wanted to keep some traditional aspects of the old bowl systems and those old relationships with certain conferences. I believe you've got, I'm sure who's playing, obviously ASU's playing in the Peach Bowl. There's no connection there, but you do have some connections to those old conference ties that you had back in the day. So that's one of the things that I liked about it. But yeah, I have nothing against the home game here in the first round.
Home teams are winning.
Yeah,
That's all I know is this.
They are.
That's all I know. The home teams are winning. So you got to figure out a way to put yourself in a position to be a home team.
There you go. Yeah, that's why I think the Indiana coach was yelling about it. It's like, we wish we could have been at home for sure. Caleb Love, 23 points again in the game against Samford. Afterwards said although we have been worried about his play, he has not been worried about his play.
Obviously, when you're not shooting the ball well, or you're not making shots that you usually make in practice or in workouts, you get in your head a little bit. You just got to double down on your workouts and double down on your faith and still believe that you can make those shots. And my teammates got confidence in me, my coaches got confidence in me, so it shouldn't be a question about my confidence.
The offense was flowing for sure with that attack defense style that we saw from Samford. Allowed the Wildcats to get out on the break. 37 points in fast break for Arizona in that game. Caleb said it just felt good to play Wednesday night.
You see the first one go through, you feeling good with yourself, and you just want to take the best shots as possible as you can. And like I said, I give my credit to my teammates for creating for me. And that's just good basketball. Not just me. When we moving the ball, I feel like we're at our best, and the offense is flowing, and then we getting stops on the other end, and I think that's when like I said, we at our best.
So that was a little bit of a debate, guys, after the game. Caleb made that first shot of the night, that first three-pointer. How much does that matter? Does it matter to make the first shot to get you feeling good about a game? I'll throw it back to like a little bit of a baseball analogy. We hear about guys that have pitched no-hitters talk about how they felt good in the bullpen coming into the game. In basketball translation, how much does making that first shot matter for a shooter?
I mean, it matters because you love to see the ball go through the basket. But if you're a confident basketball player, you're more worried about your form. You're more worried about shooting it correctly than the shot going in. So of course I want to make every shot that I take, but you want the form to be correct.
The thing that bothers me is the casual thing because you get guys like Caleb, who's a killer. He's a scorer. Like, he's been scoring since he could walk, right? I mean, that's a dude who can come in the gym, Kelvin, and give you 50 every single night. But in a situation where you might be struggling within the offense, trying to work new guys in, when do I pass to a big? When do I get Townsend involved? Those kind of things. When you do get a look in the game, Kelvin, you want to be as fundamental, set your feet, get your bend, get your follow-through, gooseneck, all that stuff. Just don't throw it up there casually. Yeah. Shoot it with intention. And I saw Caleb, especially in that Atlantis trip, a couple times, let it go a little casual. Just go ahead and trust your mechanics. It's how you shoot the ball. Like Kelvin always says, it's how you shoot the ball, not whether or not it goes in.
Now, I don't remember. Was a three his first basket, or did he get a layup?
Yeah,
first?
He got the first basket of the game was a 3 by Caleb.
Yeah,
It was. Wow. Now, I would have rather see him get going on the layup. I'm happy it went in for him, but you kind of be like, because, it's one of those things. But the confidence, though. The confidence, I do remember him making that shot. The confidence to take it after struggling, you have to respect.
Yeah, it was 17 seconds gone in the game. It was 19:43 on the clock in the first.
It was wide open. He came off a nice screen and had a wide open look to knock it down. Tommy Lloyd on the whole concept of if making the first shot impacts performance.
There's a lot of people that have actually studied, that kind of stuff for guys. Like, certain guys, they hit the first shot. And what most studies say, there's no correlation between making your first shot and playing good. So, I don't put too much stock in it, but I'll tell you what, when it goes in, I feel a little bit better.
It's funny. We had TJ on, and the question was whether or not you think about the loss to Wisconsin, right? Famously, Coach Kerr always talks about that Final Four loss, and that was his worst shooting. He shot 50% from the three-point line that season, still a record. But he talks, guys, about how good he felt in warm-ups before that game. He felt like he could not miss in warm-ups before that game. I think he was like 1 for 12 or something like that in the game. So the correlation between how you're feeling, Kelvin, relative to when it gets going, it's the defense you're seeing. If Mookie Blaylock's out there D'ing you up or whatever, it's a little bit different.
And what I was going to say, usually as a player, if I knock down a couple shots, I stop shooting. I said, I got to say this for the game. Because I knew if I hit like 20, 30 crazy shots in the warm-up, I knew I wasn't going to hit those in the game. Right? In my mind, I was like, no. So I would just automatically, and I was a guy that had a chance to play varsity from freshman all the way to senior year. So in my freshman and sophomore years, I did that. But in my junior and senior year, I did not. When I made a couple jump shots and they went in, everything else was layups at the rim. I saved that touch for the game, right? Because as Steve Kerr said, that happens too much, right? So that's why you just want to have a regular routine that you normally go through. You don't want to go in there and just shoot 100 shots and be sweating and then get in the game and can't get that rhythm back.
But what we really liked seeing from Caleb Love in that game Wednesday night was his aggressiveness in taking the ball to the basket, kind of like what Kelvin was talking about there, getting points at the rim and getting fouled and getting to the line 8 times in that game.
I only had shot 12 free throws coming into the game, and to shoot 8 tonight, it felt good. I'm on myself about missing 2 because I feel like I should never miss free throws.
That's crazy to think that in 9 games, he had only shot 12 free throws.
It's not crazy if people have been listening to pregames and Kelvin Efon talking about it, because we've been talking about it a lot this season. Got to get to the line.
Yeah, and he finally got a dunk.
Yeah.
And it was nice.
Yep. Got a dunk. I hadn't seen that a lot
and that
year.
gets you going.
Right.
And you know what else? Sometimes, we worry about get ourselves going, but guess what? It gets your team going, because you see your guy on a fast break get that dunk, that smile come on his face. You see the energy, and he does this little thing where he does the muscle flex thing, and oh man, okay, my boy is going, and it makes everybody else feel good about themselves. That's why sometimes I always tell people your highest scorer isn't necessarily your leader, right? Because he might not have the great body language or energy that you need when things are not going good, right? Same as your quarterback. Your quarterback isn't always your leader, guys. Sometimes you have quarterbacks that just know how to throw the ball.
Sometimes your running back is your leader, right? Sometimes your running back is your leader, right?
Sometimes. Could be an offensive lineman, could be a D lineman. I remember one year Joe Salavea was our captain and leader. So it just could come from anywhere. And I think sometimes that pressure get put on guys like that, and it mess up their performance. But, it's just good to see Caleb playing aggressive, and you want to see more of that, because that, to me, gets the other guys going. It takes a little pressure off of their shoulders.
Tommy Lloyd on Caleb Love getting to the line 8 times.
We've noticed his free throw rate's a little bit down, from last year. And, I don't think there's anything like tactically, that we've talked about, we don't want you getting to the free throw line. We want him getting to the free throw line. And he did a good job of it today. I think he's just got to he's got to find a good mix of hunting, catch and shoot shots and drives and playing in transition. And, I thought he looked really good today and I'm happy for him, but guys, it's one game. We got a game on Saturday. Let's see what happens.
Let's be real clear, though. Like Kelvin always talking about how, Caleb can get his, but his teammates need to help him get going. Like, that's a big part of this, right? Well, a lot of I don't think that you can put it at Caleb's feet that he hasn't gotten to the line much this year because we talked about it. The new bigs, Kelvin, and that spacing and when they need to set up on the block, when they need to open it up for those back doors and stuff. This last game out against Samford, we saw a lot more better spacing, a lot of good back cut opportunities, running that baseline. Couple of nice high lows from that quick pass. Vasar found Townsend on that really quick, nice high low from the baseline. The spacing for the bigs has a lot to do with those guards and when they can get in there and get to the rim and potentially draw a foul.
And we saw one of those back cuts to Caleb early in the ball game as well that we've been talking about that we want to see more of in the contest. All right, that is indeed Caleb Love and what he has been doing to try to get his game going at both the offense and the defensive end of the floor. It's Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day, Wildcats, Central Michigan Chippewas coming up at 2 o'clock with tip-off. We're going to chat with the voice of the Arizona Wildcats, Brian Jeffries, coming up next, along with Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of the pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rocking K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rocking K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 18 model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. LiveRockingK.com. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
We return now to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Eugene, it looks like we waited a bit too long to get our shopping done. These shelves are pretty empty.
Yeah, Doug, looks like everything got sucked up into that great big cyber savings vortex. But I've got another great idea.
We interrupt Eugene's great ideas for this commercial message.
Trying to get on the road but need some maintenance or repairs to get your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh road trip ready?
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has some fantastic year-end savings, like $50 back on any $250 purchase. When you pay with your Jack Furrier card, you save big.
Whether it's tires, maintenance, or auto repair, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has you covered. We can get your vehicle road trip ready and save you some big bucks.
So, Eugene, what was that great idea of yours anyway?
I was thinking about getting everybody a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
Thanks, Eugene. And for everyone else, there's Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden. It's time now to take you down the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
Arizona and Central Michigan tip-off coming up at 2 o'clock. Let's head down to McHale Center and chat with the voice of your Arizona Wildcats, Brian Jeffries. First time these two teams have ever gotten together on the hardwood. It was a win over Samford the other night for the Wildcats, coming off the loss to UCLA last Saturday. And it was TJ McConnell night at McHale Center, and McConnell was there along with the entire Indiana Pacers club for the second straight year. Brian, that's pretty impressive. They've brought the entire team to McHale now 2 years in a row to honor their Arizona Wildcats on that roster.
Yeah, I think you got to give a lot of credit to Rick Carlisle, the head coach of the Pacers, and they really have a fantastic organization there. And so there's a lot of people involved, but he's kind of the guy because he's the face of the franchise, is the head coach that was readily agreeable to it as he was last year. Just knows how special it is for the players to pay homage to their schools, and it worked out. And of course, the U of A knew in advance what the schedule was, and so that helped a lot. They could just stop their charter flight here in Tucson and come over to McHale and then head back up to Phoenix for the game. So that's great. I don't think every franchise in the NBA would be willing to do that. It tells you a lot about the Pacers and what they're made of.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I was just telling when we were talking about it the other day, it's like, like Ben was back here last year, and that was cool because he was honored for something he actually did, one of the honors in college that made him eligible. I've seen a number of these from, guys that maybe go back older school, your Jason Terrys and some of those guys, but this is the first guy that I really covered here that has had a long NBA career that was honored in this respect in TJ McConnell. For you, having obviously been there and obviously called those teams that went to those two Elite Eights, like, just what do you remember about the day-to-day and being on the road with him and kind of how he handled himself and the interactions you had with him as a broadcaster?
Well, I would call it positive intensity because he's a guy that, came to work every day and worked extremely hard. I mean, played extremely hard. He was very intense, but yet it wasn't, the mean intent. He was a guy that just came out on the court, he almost had a smile on his face because I think that was part of his makeup, is the fact that he thought he could outwork anybody that he played against, and usually he did. And so he enjoyed it. He loved playing the game, and that's why he's succeeded in the NBA because, who gave him a chance? I mean, I know the 76ers signed him, but they signed him to, I think, the minimum NBA contract there and never gave him a raise. And then, he kind of showed them and showed the rest of the NBA when he went to the Pacers. And now he's, getting paid what he's worth. And it just says a lot about him. And he never complained, by the way, when he was with the 76ers. I mean, he just went out and did his work just like he did at Arizona and as he did at Duquesne. And, I think I remember my dad taught me a lesson like that. Just go out and work hard and you'll be rewarded. And I think a lot of fathers have probably told their sons and daughters that. And for TJ, that's exactly the path he's followed.
The voice of the Wildcats, Brian Jeffries, is our guest. It's your view from courtside, brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Arizona for more than 25 years. It's Arizona and Central Michigan to wrap up non-conference play a week after UCLA knocked off the Wildcats in Phoenix. Brian, what did you kind of see as the big flaw in the final 9 minutes of that game where the Wildcats didn't score a field goal?
Well, yeah, there was just a lack of ball movement. I think that's the thing that stood out to me. And, you're looking at the 5 losses they've had. They've averaged 12 assists in those 5 losses, and that is not, Tommy Lloyd basketball. It's all predicated on ball movement, finding the guy with the open shot, and for some reason, they've had some games this year where they failed to follow through on that. And then you come back and see what they did against a really good defensive team in Sanford. All right, now you put up, 23 assists, and you win the game going away. So I think if you went back to the UCLA game, and if they would have found better ball movement, and you do give the Bruins credit. I mean, they're an outstanding defensive team, too. They clogged up a lot of the passing lanes. They made it difficult. But I think you have to overcome that if you're going to be a really good basketball team. And so lesson learned, we're going to find out in a couple of weeks here, what it's going to be like, because when we get on the road here in the Big 12 to Cincinnati, West Virginia, and then on beyond that, then you're going to find out how much they learned. And so, I think the Sanford game was good. Tomorrow's got to be even better, and then TCU's got to be better than that, because I think that's the thing. They've got to string together some consistency here if they're going to threaten to win the Big 12 title.
Yeah, that's why I loved what I heard from Tommy Lloyd after the game when he was referring to the performance by Caleb Love, and he said, yeah, great job. Now go out and do it again on Saturday. And that's really what I want to see from him. I want to see him start to kind of stack, those 20-point performances, dishing out 5, 6 assists, getting to the line 8 times. Let's start to stack those every single game now to build and build and build, as we, like you mentioned, we go into Big 12 play.
Yeah, and, everybody's not going to play their best every night. That's just the nature of sports. But, so he doesn't have to have 20 every night, but I think, yes, let's get back to where he was last year, where he's a threat to score 20 every night, where he draws the best defender on the opposing team because they know, hey, we've got to slow this guy down if we're going to beat Arizona, as opposed to the fact that, if he continued to have some shooting woes, teams might start backing off him. They'd start looking for somebody else to defend. And so I think it's just important for Caleb to have that mindset that, he's got to work a little harder than everybody else because, he's got the biggest, X on his chest of anybody that wears that uniform because he was so good a year ago and teams are building their defenses around him. So now he has to react to that. And, I think that was, again, something hopefully he's learned here in the first 10 games of the season. And we'll find out. Like Tommy said, let's see what happens next because you can't sit back and on your laurels there and say, hey, we got it. Yeah, we got it all fixed now. Well, we'll find out tomorrow if it's fixed, and then the next week and the next week and the next week after that.
It's your view from courtside, and we're chatting with the longtime play-by-play announcer for your Arizona Wildcats, Brian Jeffries. It's brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, serving Arizona for more than 25 years. Brian, have you had a chance, we'll switch it over to football, have you had a chance to meet the new offensive coordinator yet, Seth Dagey?
I have not. We were out of town when he was hired, and I have not been over to the football office as well. Actually, I take that back. I did once, and I found out why I probably should stay away, because they were busy as bees over there. Everybody was on the phone. I walked by offices, and every coach that was there had a phone to his ear, so I know exactly what they were doing. And I mentioned to Brett when the season was over, I said, well, when you get a dead week, let's get together. And so I think that'll be a time to go over when those guys have a little more time.
And Brian, obviously we've been kind of talking about the situation with the transfer portal over the course of the last 2 weeks. A lot of guys jumping in and a lot of guys jumping in just to kind of see what their worth is, what might else be out there. And that's the right that they have under this current system to do that. And now we're seeing guys coming back, which is, that's great to see, because they have the right to do that and make decisions moving forward. Great to see Dalton Johnson coming back. Great to see Genesis Smith coming back. And obviously, even better, Noah didn't go into the portal, but obviously great to hear that Noah Fafita is going to be the quarterback next year.
Yeah, and, it's when this whole change in the portal started, and I think some coaches took one tact, some others. There were some coaches that said, hey, if you go in the portal, you're done. We'll see you later. If you don't want to play for us, we don't want you either. And I think now coaches have come around to the realization that, how many are in the portal right now, David? Is it 3,000 or more?
Yeah.
It's around there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there's probably not 3,000 openings out there, and there's not enough money out there for all 3,000 plus to find, what exactly they're looking for. And cooler heads prevail. And then you get that the reality sets in for these guys that, yeah, they're good and other teams may want you, but, you had a home, you had teammates. And again, if money's part of it, well, I just don't know how much is out there for all these guys. And so I'm glad that Coach Brennan and other coaches around the country now have taken the tack that, okay, if you want to test the waters, that's fine, but, we're here for you. And not that they're going to hold that spot forever, but, don't, push them out the door. Just say, hey, look, we'll support you in your decision, but we'd love to have you back. And I think if you take that attitude, then you're going to find guys like you mentioned, and I think there's going to be some more that have found out that, maybe Arizona's the best place for me.
What's the favorite Christmas tradition at the Jeffries household?
Let's see. Tradition. Well, the decorations are up.
Okay.
My wife loves Christmas, and it's hard maneuvering around the living room right now because she's got all her decorations up and anything.
One tree or multiple trees?
No, one tree.
Okay.
There's not enough room for another tree. It's the village. She does the little village thing with the little houses that light up.
Yeah, we have a village. Yes.
Yeah. That used to take up more room than we have now. But it's no longer a village now. It's what would you call it? A neighborhood.
Ah,
that's it.
And
that and a little Irish coffee on New Year on Christmas Eve, and we're set.
There you go. And the kids will be home this year?
Yes. We have confirmation from one, and the other one is wavering a little bit, but we'll put the hammer down.
Okay, there you go. All right, Brian, looking forward to a call on Saturday against Central Michigan, and Merry Christmas to you and all of the folks over there at the Jeffries household.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, everybody there at the station, and the Wildcat fans, not only in Tucson, but all over the country, and for that matter, around the world. Special time of the year. I hope everybody gets a chance to spend some time with someone special.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, thanks, guys.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Tohono O'odham Nation.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE EAGLE.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. You're listening to the home of Arizona football, men's and women's basketball and baseball. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
2025 is bringing the biggest change to air conditioning in decades. New EPA regulations mean AC costs could rise by up to 25%. If you've been thinking about replacing your old AC, now's the time. Rightway is offering zero interest financing and a free furnace when you replace your AC this month. Don't wait till next year when prices go up. Call Rightway today for your free no-obligation estimate. Call 520-549-2697.
The garage is more than a place to park your car. It holds prized possessions, and for most, it's a bustling entryway to the home. That's why LiftMaster designed the first ever opener with a built-in wide-angle camera and two-way audio, so you can see what matters and secure what's inside. Ensure your family and prized possessions are secure with a reliable garage door opener that's built to last and powered by MyQ for smartphone control. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit kaisergarage.com to learn more.
Hi, this is Peter Costa, former governor of the New York Stock Exchange and proud member of the Advisory Business Council with Meridian Wealth Management. One thing I've learned over 40 years on the floor is the value of a trusting relationship with your financial advisor. After all, everyone is a genius when the markets are going up, but when they drop, that's when the guidance of a professional is most important. For more information about Meridian, call 719-1433 or visit online at meridianwealthllc.com.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
If you're suffering from back pain and your physician is giving you a back brace or a pain pill or an injection and not explain the process of what you have and how to rehabilitate yourself, then there might be something missing. I'm Tom Corey. I'm a physiatrist here at Desert Sky Spine and Pain. If you're looking to find the root cause of your pain, any pain that's limiting your function, limiting the things that you want to do in life, call us at 520-229-2080 or find us on the web at desertskymedicine.com.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Back to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Hey, Eugene, we waited a little too long to get our shopping done. The shelves are looking pretty empty.
I was thinking of getting everyone a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
We interrupt Eugene's great idea for this message.
Looking to get on the road, but need some maintenance or repairs to your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh?
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has some fantastic year-end savings, like $50 back on any $250 purchase. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Calvin Evon, and J.W. Madden.
Outlet Del Orso. Lead pass down to Bradley. Can he beat the defense? Lay it up. But there's Carter Bryant to lay it in.
Excellent pressure. You attack the rim and you attack it in waves as Bryant finishes.
Carter Bryant did not start the game against Samford, came off the bench for Tommy Lloyd and came off the bench into a little bit of a different role than we've seen him playing so far in his young college career. Let's hear from the head coach. Well, let's hear from Tommy Lloyd on this new role that Carter Bryant had in that game against Samford.
Today's the first day we kind of played him some minutes at the 4, and maybe I could have did that earlier, but when Big Mo is looming and coming back and going to be, kind of like, at the center or the nucleus of our team. You have to kind of plan for that. And so, if he's in there, it kind of maybe knocks Henry down to some more, minutes at the 4. And, so all these things kind of happen. And then, but the biggest thing is, the 4 and the 3 in the way we play, it's a little bit different movement patterns. And sometimes for a freshman, it can be a lot. And Carter's had a steep learning curve, but he's climbing that, and so I was happy to see him. This is the first game we played him some at the 4. And I thought he really impacted the game and played well.
You mentioned that last year with Morauskas, and was Morauskas without 4 more? Or has Carter basically been playing 4 in practice?
No, not at all. Okay. Not at all. Because Bruce, I wasn't, giving you a line last year, a coaching line. The 4 and 3 in our system for a first-year player, it can be a little confusing. You know who had figured it out? A kid named Pelle Larson. He figured it out with ease, so it was easy to kind of do different things lineup-wise with him. And you know what? Carter, with a little more experience, I think will be able to do that as well. So,
because it seems like he's got all this talent, and like, where do you put him, right? Especially right now.
I mean, he's finding his way, and everyone runs their own race, and I'm really confident. Carter's race is going to end up in a good place. He's just like, hey, just like our team, we're going through it. You got to kind of hang in there. It's been a month. A month is not going to define Arizona basketball, or it shouldn't even define our season. Now, it impacts it. 100% it impacts it. But it doesn't define it. So let's fight for the result we want. And that's what we're doing. And I think Carter's doing the same.
So interesting there. A little more on Carter Bryant's plate with the position change, and again, it goes back to we were talking earlier in the show about how these players are trying to figure out each other, and you've still got now and add the injury to Moteas Krivas, which has taken him out of the lineup. Tommy Lloyd, 11 games in, JW is still trying to figure out, where the pieces fit. And now with that injury, he's trying new stuff that he wasn't trying 3-4 games ago.
Yeah, and he's been pretty consistent with this concept of not trying to overload freshmen with too many things to think about. And we talk a lot about this motion offense, about read and react. Well, when you come in from the high school level, so much faster, bigger bodies, so many more things you have to read and react to quicker, DK. And so overloading a young freshman with, here, go learn how to play the 3. Here, go learn how to play the 4. We're going to have you play both positions in your first 10 games of your college career is unlikely. However, without the 7'3" post player in Mo Krivas being out there, you're going to have guys like Awaka and Vasar play a little bit more of the 5. When they move over to the 5, you have to have somebody to slide into the 4. And clearly at 6'8", 6'9" with long arms, Carter Bryant, that high, you think about the high-low pass from that 4 to the 5 or anything else that entails playing that 4 position, the power forward, I think it's definitely clear that Carter Bryant is the best suited to take on those responsibilities. And from what we saw the other night, Carter just seems like that kind of guy, DK, who is a very fundamentally sound young man, still trying to gain that D1 level confidence of just going and being a killer because he's not trying to step on any toes. He's trying to make sure that he fits and plays within the offense and takes what the defense gives him. And so I'm not so sure which of those positions he'll be better suited for at this level. I think ultimately he's a 3. I think if he gets, especially if he tightens up his handles. But for now, I mean, without overloading, Pelle Larson, very cerebral guy, figured out that 3-4 mix pretty early. Better to have Carter maybe, I don't know how much 3 he'll play now that he's going to be taking on more 4 responsibilities, because you also have Deli and guys like that who can take on time at the 3.
Kelvin, Carter Bryant moving a little bit more to the 4 spot now in this rotation with the injury to Moteas Krivas.
I actually like it. I think in this new day and age where most people are playing 4 out, 1 in, to be able to have a bigger guard, 6'7", 6'8"-ish, that can handle the ball, but that can also guard bigger guys, you need that guy because now you have a better defender, you have a better ball handler on the floor that can get out and help guard some of those 3-point shooters that the other team, we're going to be facing a few of those guys a day in the pick and pop type of bigs that you got to have guys that can get out there and cover those guys. And a lot of these teams are playing 4 guards anyway. So you want to be able to have four true guards on the floor, but at least have some size of and athleticism of a kid like Carter Bryant. Because if you look at our team, he's the only guy that has that ability to really change in between. KJ Lewis has the toughness, but Carter actually has the physical attributes to get the job done.
That's such a great point. I mean, the defensive side, as you always talk about, Kelvin, it's really who you guard, really, is what position you're playing. And you love it when you got a guy who can rip it and go, too. And a guy who's 6'8", 6'9", he can get in there and mix it up on the boards, has the ability and the confidence in his handles to push the ball. It's just such a luxury to have a guy like that who's got those guard skills in this positionless era we're playing in. He just needs to get more and more comfortable with playing time. Carter Bryant's going to be just fine. Anybody out there thinking he should be averaging 15 and 10 at this point or whatever, like this team has, a lot of firepower on it. He's just feeling his way through it. And I love his upside, Kelvin. And getting more experience at different spots and thinking his way through the game is going to help him long term, figuring out how to read and react in those different situations.
Caleb, love on Carter Bryant's ever-changing role with the team.
He can play the 1 through 4, and his shooting ability is going to open the floor up a little bit more. So, we'll have a lot more spacing for driving lanes, and also with Trey out there, he can space the floor as well with his shooting ability. And it just gives us more looks at driving lanes and things that we can do, and then we can switch, a lot of the stuff on defense as well, because he can, guard, 1 through 4, 1 through 5 if, need be, and Carter can, do a lot of things on the floor.
Okay, whoa, 3 and 4, and now we're adding 1 and 2 potentially. Could we see him in either of those roles moving forward?
Well, if you watched him play in high school, again, dad is a high school coach, former player. His dad put that ball in his hands at a young age, so he's been bringing the ball up. I saw him in high school and in AAU. He was basically the point guard. He brought the ball up and initiated most of the offense and got guys involved and he played off pick and roll. So I definitely believe after he gets comfortable, he can bring the ball up, sort of like with KJ Lewis. I mean, because you think about it, J-Dub, with him playing the 4, a lot of times you would like for him to bring the ball up because the guy that's going against him can't really guard him coming up the floor. So you get a little bit of an advantage having him on the floor in this positionless age because, again, he can rebound and push. He can rebound and push and make that initial pass to now you got Caleb running, you got Bradley running, because Bradley is more of a combo guard to me than just a point guard. You want him running and finishing as well. So having another guy out there on the floor that can facilitate the basketball is huge for this team.
Yeah, I don't know, DK, about 1 or 2 at this level, at this stage of the young man's career, but like Kelvin said, he's got the skill set. It's just about getting comfortable against the quicker and much handsier guards that you're going to see at this level. But you just mentioned, Kelvin, about how he can move his feet. And so if he has to switch out on a 2 or 3 in any kind of action, he's comfortable out there doing it. Well, on the other side of that coin, there aren't a lot of post players in modern basketball at the highest level, but a lot of these teams you're going to be seeing that maybe in the non-conference especially, and then maybe a couple of the Big 12, a little bigger teams in the Big 12 moving forward, having Carter Bryant as an offensive asset out there on the perimeter matched up against a 4 who might not be as comfortable moving his feet against Carter, that's also an advantage for the Wildcats.
All right, let's take a look at what is happening around the rest of college basketball as well as college football today, as well as the NFL. There's a lot happening.
Let's take a look at what's happening today around the rest of the country. Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
All right, let's start with college basketball today as it relates to the Wildcats and their new conference, the Big 12. Bunch of games on tap in the Big 12 today, as well as the top 25. Let's start right now with some games in progress in the top 25. Number 21, Memphis. We've talked a lot about them and how well they've been playing. Well, they're getting stomped today at home by Mississippi State, 62-40. That was the team that Central Michigan played before they came out here. So Mississippi State 10-1. There's a lot of good teams in the SEC. Right now, that's for sure. We've had some early games already on the docket. Number 5 Duke did not get beat for a second straight year in Atlanta as they go in and knock off Damon Stoudemire's crew 82-56 today in the second. That's the second ACC game for both of those teams. Number 7, Florida over Northern Florida, 99-45. Xavier loses again. They lost earlier in the week to a ranked UConn team. They lose again today at home at the Centos Center to number 9 Marquette. It was a good game, but the Golden Eagles win it 72-70 over Sean Miller's team as the Musketeers now drop to 0-2 in the Big East. Tough start there for them. The team they lost to the other day, number 11 UConn, went on the road to Indianapolis today. They beat Butler by a score of 78-74. So UConn off to a 2-0 start in the Big East Conference. Games in the Big 12 today in progress. Texas Tech leading Lamar 64-31 early. It's 15th ranked Houston up 10 on Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Other games on the schedule. Bellarmine will play at Colorado tonight. The Buffs are 8-2 and undefeated at home. Arizona State is in the Basketball Hall of Fame Classic game in Springfield, Massachusetts tonight. They'll take on the Minutemen of UMass. Arizona State 8-2 on the year. Central Florida will host Jacksonville. Utah's got a Power 4 matchup tonight on the road in South Dakota. They'll take on Iowa over there. So the 8-3 Hawkeyes against the 8-2 Utes, and the lone other game, which should be a pretty good one in Wichita tonight. The Shockers of Wichita State will host Kansas State in that inter-Kansas battle there. All right, let's go National Football League now. There are a number of games on the schedule there today. One of them is in progress right now. The Chiefs are leading the Texans 14-10. That game is just coming up on halftime. Kansas City looking to go to 14-1. Patrick Mahomes is playing in that game today.
Not only is he playing, he had a 15-yard touchdown run.
So much for an
is that guy
ankle,
immortal?
right?
Kelvin, what's up? What's up with how does that work? I mean, he wasn't going to play, right? High ankle sprain, that's no big. He just recovers so fast. 15-yard touchdown run today.
Yeah, no, hey, thank the docs.
Right? Yeah, you got the right shot.
2 carries for 27 yards. The other game will come up at 2:30. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. In that game, an AFC North rivalry there. The Ravens are 9-5. The Steelers are 10-4. So that game, in all likelihood, is for the AFC North Championship today. College football bracket, one game last night. Notre Dame advances with a 27-17 win over Indiana. That was not really even that close, but Indiana got a couple of scores late. So the Irish are now into the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day, where they will play number 2 Georgia. Right now, third quarter, 28-3, Penn State leading SMU. Penn State wins this game. They advance to take on Boise State. That will be in the Fiesta Bowl. Coming up next at 2, same time our game starts here, it'll be Clemson at Texas. And that game will filter in. Winner there will play Arizona State in the Peach Bowl. And then tonight at 6, Tennessee and Ohio State in Columbus. Winner of that game will take on the top seed Oregon in the Rose Bowl. So you could get, if Ohio State wins, you could, and this is what I was talking about, you could get that traditional matchup, Oregon and Ohio State, in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. That's what I like.
Also,
that's what I like about the setup this year.
That traditional matchup of Clemson and Texas, who have never played each other, ever. I looked it up, guys. Texas has 959 wins, their 4th all-time. Clemson has 808 wins, their 18th all-time. 808 wins, 959 wins. They got, 1,700 wins between them, Kelvin. If you ask me, like, before this college football playoff thing, that's what's been wrong with college football, is that these traditional great teams, they've never played, Texas and Clemson, ever. They've never played each other before today.
That's insane.
Crazy.
It's insane to think. But that's if we're getting more of these games and getting more teams playing each other, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all.
That's what I like about it.
At all. All right, that's your scoreboard for the moment.
Scoreboard is brought to you by Goldberg and Osborne. Goldberg and Osborne, the injury lawyers.
All right, let's find out who that player from the Chippewas could be that gets underneath Arizona skin today.
Who is today's Pest of the Game? The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at BePestFree.com.
All right, the Chippewas come in here at 5-5. Again, they've got some injuries that they are dealing with. We'll talk to Adam Jaxa a little bit later about that, but they are a team certainly capable of pulling off the upset here today. I'll start with you, J-Dub. Who is that player that you're looking at as being the potential thorn in the Wildcats' side this afternoon?
Well, since I get to go first, I'll just pick the most obvious, which is Anthony Pritchard. I mean, he's the guy who's averaging 2.5 steals per game as a fourth-year senior. Been there, done that, takes his defense real serious, 5 assists, just fills up the box score. So he's a guy, if he gets going, gets his team confident, Kelvin, it's always the guy who has the ability through sheer will to be able to drag his guys with him across the finish line, and Anthony Pritchard is the kind of guy for that team.
Oh, well, that definitely was my guy. For sure. Southern boy, Oklahoma, right up the road from Dallas, Tulsa right there. So I definitely was going with him because, the physical play that he plays with, man, I mean, it just sets the tone for that team. Just a physical guard. I call them power guards. I used to consider myself a power guard, right? Where you just a physical, you feel like you can guard
There's
any
no considering
size.
it about it, bro. I mean, I watched every minute you ever played in a Wildcat uniform. You were a power guard for sure.
Yeah, and this guy has a lot of that, a lot of those abilities in him. So that was my guy. But I'm gonna go with Jacoby Heady. Jacoby Heady leads the team in rebounding and block shots. 6'6" athlete. They have a lot of these guys with a lot of length. That's not necessarily 7-footers, but they have the athletic 6'6" to 6'9" guys that can switch different positions.
All right, well, I like to usually go with a guy off the bench since you guys are going with starters. So I'm going to go with Brian Jonga, the sophomore forward. He has started 6 games for them this season. And he, again, a guy that can come in and do a little bit of everything, score, rebounding. He's a little bit of an enforcer, a transfer from Cal State Northridge. So he probably comes in there to try to provide some physicalness on the inside, foul a few guys, disrupt guys, push them off the block, that kind of thing. So Brian Jonga is going to be my pest of the game.
They got some great names on that team.
Jonga. There you go. All right, so we got Brian Jonga, we've got Mr. Anthony Pritchard, and we've got Mr. Quentin Heady as the guys we believe will get underneath the Wildcats' skin the most today.
That's today's Pest of the Game. The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Visit BePestFree.com. Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball is getting you closer to tip-off. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 2 of the pregame show is brought to you by Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Recon Auto Detail, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community designed by nature, University Termite and Pest Control, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Looking for unlimited gameplay all season long? Dave & Buster's is introducing the all-new Winter Season Pass. You can pick your perfect pass and play like a Dave & Buster's VIP with unlimited access to over 140 games and deals on sips and bites. Sign up now and take advantage of this incredible deal now through February 28th. Don't forget to stop in Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch specials and grab the all-new Winter Season Pass. There's nowhere better to eat, drink, play, and watch than Dave & Buster's, the best place outside the stadium to see the games this football season.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. 6 model homes are now open to tour at Del Webb at Rockin' K. Here, life is about more than just beautiful homes. It's about the experiences waiting outside your front door at this new 55-plus active adult neighborhood. LiveRockingK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Honey, our yard's full of weeds. Looks like a jungle and the neighbors are complaining.
I know. I'm trying to get rid of them, but the product I'm using, it doesn't work.
Oh.
Not to mention, I don't have the time.
But it's not just weeds.
It's not?
No, I'm seeing ants.
Ants?
Yeah, and spiders.
Ooh, spiders.
I know, and I think I saw a scorpion.
No way.
Yes way, and there's a pack rat in our garage.
Ew. Okay, I'll call University Termite and Pest Control today. We'll get rid of all of them.
Okay, honey, thank you.
University Termite and Pest Control, locally owned. Find them online at bepestfree.com.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 five-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE EAGLE.
The Window Depot has everything you need to create the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. Browse the aisles of in-stock cabinets available in a variety of sizes and configurations and instantly elevate your space today. Visit a showroom and let our experts guide you. Whether you're choosing from ready-to-go designs or creating a custom masterpiece, we can help you select the perfect wood type, color, and style, and top it off with unique hardware to complete your look. Find a location near you at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Broadway in Tucson presents the new 2024-2025 season, featuring 6 blockbuster productions, including Mamma Mia and the Southern Arizona premieres of Clue, live on stage, Beetlejuice, Some Like It Hot, the Neil Diamond musical, A Beautiful Noise, and Shucked. Secure your signature season tickets today and get the best seats at the best prices. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your 2024-2025 season tickets today.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Wildcat Nation, are you ready?
Krivas turnaround, gets it off, and it rolls in for 2. Oh my! KJ Lewis slams it home. Stolen away by Bradley. Caleb on a breakaway windmill jam.
Arizona basketball never sleeps.
Bear down, Cats. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. The Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Gameday pregame show is brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived. We're getting closer to tip-off for today's Arizona basketball game. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
And now we will see the season debut of Emmanuel Stephan, the 6'11 freshman out of Nigeria. Remember, he was slated to redshirt this year, then the injury to Mo Krivas, and they have activated Emmanuel Stephan, 6'11", 230 pounds. He's got a lot of length, got a lot of things to learn here. We are 10 games into the season now, and he's on the floor for the first time. 1-1 for Brownell, and misses it, and there's Stephan with his first Arizona rebound, and Arizona with the ball. Backcourt Lewis, feed it ahead, Martinez, throw it inside for Stephan, and it goes in. The pass was too high, it went off his fingertips and dropped in, and he gets his first 2 in an Arizona uniform in kind of an unlikely way.
He looked like he was a little upset with that lob, but I think it was was it Deli or no?
No, because was it Deli? I thought there was
it Conrad?
Conrad.
Right?
Let me tell you what I saw. Let me tell you what I saw in that DK. For Conrad, who's the general, right?
Yeah.
Jefecito, right? He throws that lob that high. You know what that means? That means that he knows that guy could catch that pass. He wouldn't have threw it like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a point guard. He put that ball up there because he could catch and duck it, and he touched it.
Yeah.
He could have brought it down, but you could just see just the athleticism there for those guys to trust him, and Conrad believed that he could catch it. These guys practice with him every day.
That's what KYP means. I mean, the idea being that like he knows Kelvin, if he's going to put it up there by the box, then he's seen Stephen go up there and get it before. Yeah.
Now, this is what the problem would have been if he would have penetrated in there and did a bounce pass. And did a bounce pass to a 7-footer. No, I'm going to throw that thing to the sky. And you love seeing, because you don't necessarily see that pass a lot with some of our other 7-footers. So that means that this kid is a dunk, rim, lob threat at the rim, which would be great. But you know what I was thinking, though, DK? You know how football has the 3 games that you get to play?
Right, the exhibition. Yeah.
Right. To me, basketball should have 10, and then you still should be able to redshirt. Right? Because you play 40 games, right? 25% of that is 10, right? Same as football.
Oh, you mean not exhibition games, but they should be able to play 10 games. And
real
redshirt.
games.
Yeah, real games.
Because
Okay,
in football, don't you get 3 real games
Right,
you can play?
4.
Still?
You get 4.
4, that's
4.
right.
Yep.
4.
You get 4 games.
Okay, DK.
Absolutely,
What's the difference?
I don't know.
I always thought that some kind of way that they would adjust that, and I haven't saw it.
The first game for Emmanuel Stephan out of Lagos, Nigeria. Trey Townsend on E-Man, as they like to call him, E-Man's debut.
You gotta love E-Man, one of the hardest working guys that I know, and obviously Big Mo getting hurt, you got to step up into that opportunity, and he's been feeling that during practices, a little elevated role, and but he gives 100% effort no matter where he's at on the court, when he's on the court. But being a true freshman, there's a lot to learn. Obviously, CB's still learning as well. So with him, it's trying to keep his head up. Let him just trust his effort. Because I was in that situation my freshman year of college where, I was struggling a lot, but I could control the effort thing, and I had upperclassmen guys just, you can control that. And with him, that hasn't been an issue. But he's going to learn a lot and be a great help to us because he's got great size, great athleticism. But like I said, he's still learning.
All right, so his last name is spelled like Steven, but it's pronounced Stephan. He is out of, I mentioned, Lagos, Nigeria, 4-star top 100 recruit. Played his senior year up in Glendale at Dream City Christian, which is one of the prep schools up there. Tommy Lloyd says, hey, we didn't anticipate that this is where we would be, but we're okay with it, and it's time to go forward with Emmanuel Stephan.
We're going to see how it works, because I think he's ready to contribute. He probably needs another, week or 2 of good practice. And then so we can kind of figure out some packages we can play with him in that are, that makes sense for him. But, hey, when you see him, your eyes are on him, right? There's always something happening. I mean, he's kind of a whirling dervish out there. So, which is exciting because there's so much potential.
See him get at that. Is he the kind of guy, maybe where, getting a chance to score right away kind of takes the butterflies away or whatever?
I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if he knows what butterflies are. You know what I mean? Like, that guy just comes out and he's going to play balls to the wall. And that's going to be his greatest strength, is his activity and his energy. I know our players were excited and our staff was excited when he made that.
He's only been playing basketball, guys, since 2019, so only 5 years in. Played in that prestigious Peach Jam tournament that they have during the summer. Averaged 4 blocks at the Peach Jam and was named the defensive MVP of that tournament. So definitely a defensive player to start, and I'm sure the offense will come.
Oh, yeah, man. And you need those guys. Right now, with the way basketball is, basically threes and attacks at the basket where they're not shooting mid-ranges, you need shot blocking. And I said that about this team. I said, who's the shot blocker on this team? Who deter people from wanting to come to the rim. And I
Right.
think he's the type of guy. I think he has all 5 of his fouls. You're not concerned with him, and he can really get there and use that length and athleticism, because you saw him jump over that box, right?
Yeah.
Did you see that? JJ?
Yeah.
I know what I saw, and touched that ball where it was finessed it enough to where it could, fall in for him. So I see him being a real nice shot blocker who can keep the ball in gameplay.
And you know what Trey said there about, being able to control your effort and your energy and what you're bringing outside of what you maybe need to learn as a freshman. We talked a whole segment about TJ McConnell and his 10 years in the NBA. A lot of that, guys, off of effort. Well, when you're 7 foot tall and you got long arms, Kelvin, and you're 235, that effort and energy impacts the game a whole lot different than a guy who's 6 foot without a lot of athleticism. So all he's got to do is go in there, crash the offensive glass, make sure he doesn't try to do any kind of step back threes, and he's going to be just fine.
Oh.
Speaking of Trey was asked if he's ever had to guard E-Man in practice.
Most of the time, it's Tobe and him are battling a lot. But no, he's very quick for his size, and like I said, he's a great shot blocker. Literally, he'll block shots that you wouldn't even think he'd have a chance to block, which is a great asset to have for us defensively. And as he's going to learn, the fundamentals of defense, I think he's going to be an elite player.
I know we have a love-hate relationship with comparisons. Young Ballo, another young guy, came through the NBA Academy, foreign NBA Academy. Bring him along slowly. Potential for that.
Koloko.
Yeah, Koloko's shaped. He's Koloko shaped.
More Koloko. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the athleticism, guys, and getting up off the ground with the long arms.
So more athletic than Ballo.
We love Umar Ballo, and he wasn't much of a leaper, Kelvin.
Right. He was a cool shot blocker. I thought he was more of a rim protector, get in the way with his sides. A shot blocker is Koloko. Who when you come in there, he's reaching up there and giving you the long arm of the law.
You don't see him. You don't know he's there, and then the shot's blocked, right? That's the kind of guy, look at Wembanyama and what he's been doing in the NBA the last few years. But that's that potential coming off ball. If you anticipate and you've got instincts, just natural instincts of going up and challenging shots, because that's just timing. It's just watching the offensive players and seeing, Kelvin, when they're going to let that go. But coming off ball, especially off your man to block shots, I mean, that's a skill that requires study. You got to figure out exactly what the tendencies are of those players, but the intangibles and the measurements are all there.
And I'll add, we call those shot blocks capping the shot.
Yeah.
When you just cap it, it's like, that's different.
All right, before we get to the rest of this segment, let's tell you what we've got coming up in this final hour of our program today.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we're going to do our best bets here in a moment. U of A at 28.5-point favorite, over under 153.5 today. Adam Jaxa is going to join us. Your opponent's scouting report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. He's the voice of the Central Michigan Chippewas. We'll find out. They call them the Chips. We'll get his thoughts on the Chips and what they're bringing into Tucson here today, and keys to the game, starting lineups straight ahead. No DK with TL today because they decided to hold the press conference at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on whatever day that was, Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was Tuesday that they did that, and of course that's right when our show starts. So I could not get over there to ask the coach any questions this week. So we'll have to wait and do that next week. Also, we've got some very, very sad breaking news today, although nothing is official from the Oakland Athletics at the moment. Reports that Ricky Henderson, legendary Major League Baseball player, has passed away today at the age of 65. Apparently, this was sent out on the Instagram account of Dave Winfield, another legendary Major Leaguer who was very close friends with Ricky Henderson. So we'll wait for official word on that for the Oakland Athletics, but it appears that Ricky Henderson has died today at the age of 65. No more exciting player when I was coming up than Ricky Henderson. Man, he had the power to, a real five-tool player. Power, speed, could defend, could throw the ball. I mean, he had all the tools.
Well, the best thing was like the dude you can't, because, he could lead off home run with the best of them, right? So like I saw him, go start the game off with the home run. And when you got a guy who can start the game off with the home run, you got to pitch him right. And when that same guy can steal second, third, and then home, if you do get him on base, just the ultimate leadoff threat.
Yeah, that's what I remember most, man. Him getting on base. I love just watching him. That when he do when he came off the base and he started creeping off the bag, intimidating the pitcher. The pitcher can't concentrate on making the pitch, or should I turn around and make him respect, But man, taking off and getting there and diving, his little patented dive onto the bag, and then he get up and wave to the crowd, man. No, very talented player. Love watching him. Had me want to knock it over the fence.
81 times, guys, he led the game off with the home run.
Man, crazy. I'll tell my favorite Ricky Henderson story. That is one that is around many baseball circles. When he went to a new team, I believe it was the San Diego Padres, and he for first time got there and gets on the bus and says, asks one of the players, where should I sit on the bus? And the player that he asked said, well, Ricky, players with tenure sit in the front. And Ricky looked at him and said, tenure? Man, Ricky got 15, 20 years. Ricky Henderson, ladies and gentlemen, the great, now late great Ricky Henderson, apparently dead today at the age of 65. All right, let's find out who has the chance to win some money on this today.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, I took a couple L's the last time out, so my big lead is still 4, but shrinking a little bit, 13-7 to 9-11 for both J-Dub and Kelvin. Again, this is a Central Michigan team that has struggled, maybe not they're picked to finish 8th in the MAC, and maybe not exactly having the start to the season that they had hoped with some of the injuries that they're dealing with. So Arizona is a 28.5 point favorite in this game today. So I'll, since I guess I'll go first, since J-Dub got mad because I made him go first last time.
I don't get mad at, just get annoyed.
I think Arizona's going to cover this. I really do. I think this is going to be one of those games where, I mean, heck, they covered 32 against a much better team the other night against Samford. So I think they're going to blow the doors off of Central Michigan today. So I'm going to take Arizona and lay that 28.5 points.
Yeah, the only problem is, like, I'm looking at Central Michigan's record, and they really have been in every single game except for that game against Mississippi State. And I'm like, well, they lost their last game big to a power team. But, guys, Mississippi State right now is crushing. They just killed number 21 Memphis, 79-66. They killed. So that Mississippi State Bulldogs team that's unranked right now may be a lot better than we're giving them credit. 28, man, is a lot. I think they win by quite a comfortable margin, but I'll say just under that. So I think they win by 25-26.
Yeah.
CMU plus the 28.5 points. Kelvin.
I definitely take a CMU plus the 28.5 because I can't see Coach Lloyd leaving guys out there, basically to beat them up by the 30 piece. So, no, I definitely take a CMU plus the 28.
All right. Over under 153. Much under what we had. We had 165 the other night. So down back to the normal ranks that we normally see, which is in the mid 150s. I'll go. We were under the other night. I'm going to go over on this one. I'm going to take the over.
Yeah, same. I mean, that's a team coming in averaging 77. I think the only way they even have a chance in this game is to shoot a lot of threes. Some of those go down, Kelvin. And defense gets a little bit looser for Arizona because they got, 14 game days off after this or something. So I think it's just under that. Or I'm sorry, over that number because I think both teams are going to be really loose and putting the ball up today.
I think the opposite of you guys. I think man, I'm watching this team, man. They are pretty defensive, man. They lock up pretty good. Like you said, the Mississippi State can fool you because of how well that they're playing. But if you go look at some of them scores, man, in the games that they were playing, man, they were locking down, and they wasn't necessarily scoring a lot in some of those games. So, yeah, I'm going to go under that. I'm going to go right at. I kept thinking in my mind, like, 90 to 60. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere right there. So that's 150. So,
Would it change your mind if you found out that they didn't have any bigs playing today, basically?
Yeah, their one main big is out.
Yeah. Well, I'm still thinking that they're not going to score that great today. That's where I'm going to go under.
Yara Vicious is questionable from what we understand. All right, so Kelvin and J-Dub will take CMU in the 28.5. I'll take U of A lay the 28.5.
Could you pronounce that guy's first name for me really quick?
I think it was Yara Vicious.
No, first name.
Oh, I'm not looking at the first name.
It's Eugenius. Eugenius. I'm going to guess.
It is Ugnis. Ugnis. I'm sorry, Ugnis.
That's a great name.
Yaru Shivachis.
International player, safe to say, right?
Yeah. Yaru
He's from Dallas.
Dallas.
All right, that's what it looks like on the big board at the Desert Diamond Casino.
Those are today's best bets. They are brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
We'll let Adam Jacksa pronounce the names. He's coming up next with your scouting report. Meridian Wealth Management, Arizona Game Day. Wildcats, Central Michigan, 2 o'clock tip-off with Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Don't hold back. Just dive right in. This is Desert Diamond. The round-the-clock, off-the-charts, over-the-top spectacle that puts a shine on any day, anytime. The tables are hot to the touch. The slots are spinning winners every day. And the point spreads are yours for the taking. So go ahead. Live the diamond life. Desert Diamond Casino. Visit ddcaz.com.
An enterprise of the Tohono O'odham Nation.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer-installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Day in and day out, we're inundated with commercials asking to review your portfolio or telling you to get a second opinion. This is Natalie Fernandez with Meridian Wealth Management, and I want to share the advice I give people every day. Talk to 3 different advisors at 3 different firms. It's important to understand their differences and find someone you can trust. I want Meridian to be one of your 3, and then you will decide who is best for you. To learn more, call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
We return now to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Eugene, it looks like we waited a bit
bit too long to get our shopping done. These shelves are pretty empty.
Yeah, Doug, looks like everything got sucked up into that great big cyber savings vortex. But I've got another great idea.
We interrupt Eugene's great ideas for this commercial message.
Trying to get on the road but need some maintenance or repairs to get your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh road trip ready?
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has some fantastic year-end savings, like $50 back on any $250 purchase. When you pay with your Jack Furrier card, you save big.
Whether it's tires, maintenance, or auto repair, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has you covered. We can get your vehicle road trip ready and save you some big bucks.
So, Eugene, what was that great idea of yours anyway?
I was thinking about getting everybody a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
Thanks, Eugene. And for everyone else, there's Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Discover Rocking K, a community designed by nature, built for you. Embrace the beauty of the Rincon Mountains' high desert foothills. Explore natural open space, a network of connecting trails, and a community park. Bordering Saguaro National Park, Rocking K is conveniently located to our region's major employers and nationally recognized Vale School District. Tour 10 model homes by 4 award-winning builders and discover why more people are calling Rocking K home. LiveRockingK.com. Proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcast.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We have the Arizona Wildcats covered on game day like no one else. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the captain Kelvin Efon, and J.W. Madden.
Butler, tough one. Odor flies in and he just couldn't handle it, but it came to McMillan for the tie. Oh, it goes in! McMillan all the way. CMU leads for the first time in about 20 minutes.
Time now for our look at today's Wildcat opponent. The scouting report is brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there.
For the first time ever, it'll be Arizona and Central Michigan on the hardwood. Let's get to know a little bit about the Chippewas who come in here, sporting a 5-5 record on the season. Pleased to be joined by the voice of the Chippewas, Adam Jaxa. And Adam, I understand you have been in Tucson for a number of days already. In fact, you were at the Arizona game against Samford the other night.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy turnaround to play at Mississippi State and Jackson, Mississippi on Tuesday. But being from the state of Michigan with snow on the ground, we wanted to get to Arizona as quick as possible. So you got to understand that.
So what did you think of what you saw from the Arizona Wildcats? Let's start there. How you kind of went in. I imagine that you don't often get a chance as a play-by-play man to see a team in advance like that. So what did you see? What were you looking for? What are some of the things that you focus on to help you prepare for what you've got to do in the broadcast?
Yeah, it was a unique perspective. It's always helpful to go and just see the numbers, see the names and the faces rather than watch it on TV. And taken that incredible atmosphere. One of our former facilities guys, Orville Jennings, who now works at Arizona, was telling me that was a lighter crowd on Wednesday, which was shocking to me because that atmosphere was electric for TJ McConnell being back. But I mean, you look first at their offense. Caleb Love, when he's Caleb Love, he's tough to stop, and he scores 23 points and shoots 50%, and he got that crowd roaring. And, Del Orso got his first start. He looks pretty good to me, and love the local guy in Townsend that comes from the state of Michigan and has transferred in. So certainly Arizona can score the basketball, and that's something that Central Michigan's going to have to do their best to see if they can slow them down to try and stay in this game because, Samford's a pretty good team, and they can score the rock, and they hung in for a little bit, but Arizona just kind of ran away, and it was pretty much over at halftime.
You guys are in the middle of a pretty extensive road trip, 4 games on the road. Valpo was one of the teams you played. You mentioned you guys were down at Mississippi State as well earlier this week, and now Arizona will kind of wrap up that trip before you guys get home for the holidays. Is this been a difficult trip for the team to kind of to travel across country like this?
Yeah, I think the bigger part, kind of like Arizona, they're kind of in a little bit of a funk, and I think these two games probably at home, I'm sure the fans are hoping that they kind of get things righted before they head into conference play. But CMU went on the long finals week of not having a game and taking a few days off to give the guys some rest because Central Michigan has been so dinged up, and they came back against Valpo, and you could just tell they looked rusty. It was a game into the late stages, but they just didn't look themselves defensively. And Tony Barbie mentioned they just kind of lost their mojo. And it was similar for Mississippi State, where they were in that game at halftime. They were down 7. Now, obviously, it's an SEC team, so you're not expecting to go in there and compete with them for all 40, especially a team that probably should be in the top 25 and most likely will be by the end of the week. But the last two second halves, they've allowed their opponents to shoot over 55%. And anything we know about Coach Barbie, he is all defense all the time. And that's not what Central Michigan has looked like to start the season defensively. But they've had some issues here the last couple of games, and that's something that they obviously need to get corrected with the offensive explosiveness that Arizona has.
Adam Jaxa, he is the voice of the Central Michigan Chippewas, joining us. It is your scouting report brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier, since 1960, we're here to get you there. Adam, Tony Barbie, you mentioned his name. It's a name I'm very familiar with. Covered him and the Memphis Tiger teams back in the early part of this century when he was on John Calipari's staff down there, and they went to the national championship game one year, although I believe that might have been after he left and went on to his first head coaching job at UTEP. I believe third stop now for him, UTEP, Auburn, and now Central Michigan as a head coach. What's kind of been the reaction to his tenure? MAC Coach of the Year last year, an 18-win turnaround season. I would imagine there were some high expectations coming into this season.
Yeah, there's no question. He's done a tremendous job. I mean, this is a program that has been oozing for an opportunity to be back at the top of the Mid-American Conference. I mean, our last regular season championship was 10 years ago in 2015, and that was the last time they were in the conference tournament championship game. So it had been kind of a dry spell, and then last year happened, year 3, where he had to get the pieces in place. He's fought through a lot of injuries, unfortunately, through his first few seasons, and that's continued again this year. But you talk to people around Mount Pleasant and someone like myself that has followed this program for a decade plus, this has the chance to be their most talented and best season in 2 decades. And that goes back to NBA standout Chris Kaman when he came in 2003, and that was their last visit to the NCAA tournament. So I think fans have been really excited about the juice he's kind of brought back to the program. They finished 4th last year. They unfortunately did have an early exit in a 1-bid league tournament game in Cleveland at the end of the year, but they bring back the only first team player in the conference this year, and they've added some transfers. They've added some big pieces, literal, like size-wise, 6'10", 7-foot guys that certainly should help them once hopefully everybody gets healthy for conference play. But expectations once they get through it's been a really difficult non-conference schedule. If you take a look at some of the teams that they've had to play, that's just part of it as a mid-major squad. But from January to March, and I'm sure you guys understand this too, that's the most important time of the year to try and win your conference and get good seeding heading into the conference tournament and hope to be dancing after that.
We're chatting with Adam Jaska, the voice of the Central Michigan Chippewas. Adam, you mentioned injuries. I know you guys are dealing with that again, as you mentioned this year. How extensive is that to the main rotation?
Yeah, there's 3 of them right now, and they're unfortunately all of the big guys. The most significant is Ugnis Yarushevicius, if you need to work on pronouncing that. The large Lithuanian is what we call him. He unfortunately didn't play on Tuesday. He's the starting guy in the middle. He can extend the floor, shoot the 3. You look at the paint points, I think they had something crazy like 40 or 50 paint points on Tuesday in that game. I mean, it's a significant loss, and he injured himself in the practice the day before. So We've seen him in and out of the lineup this year. Not sure if he'll play tomorrow. If he doesn't, again, that's going to be a big loss. And the other two, Armani Mighty, the transfer from Boston College, has yet to see the floor this year. They think he's getting close and potentially will be back by the new year. And the other big fellow, the 6'9" freshman from Dearborn, Michigan, Mohamed Habhab, is another one that's played only in one game. Those are three pieces that they think are going to make a massive impact. But two of them really haven't played at all, and the third has been in and out of the lineup. So they're really hoping that they can get healthy. Again, once they start, as Tony will say, the second phase of the season, conference play come January, that's when they need those guys to help contribute and get them back to the top of the league.
Tell us a little about Anthony Pritchard, one of the main players on this team right now, averaging 13 points per ball game, 4 rebounds, MAC preseason player of the year.
Yeah, he makes them go. I mean, he's your classic point guard. I mean, geez, I'm talking to Arizona folks. You guys know all about great point guards. CMU's got Anthony Pritchard. He's been fantastic, and he does it on both ends. He's a great scorer, facilitator. You know, Tony talks about it all the time that we want to be great passers, great assisters, rebound the basketball, and defend. And he does all of that for him. He's kind of the guy that makes them go. And to be able to bring him back and not lose him to the transfer portal was huge. The second defensive player of the year ever in Central Michigan history, again, going back to Chris Kaman, the only other one. So he's poised to have another big year, and certainly one of the reasons why the expectations are so high here. But he's going to have to play massive tomorrow and throughout the rest of the year. The good news is he had so much pressure on him last year because they didn't quite have the offensive pieces that they do this year. He feels a little bit more relaxed because he's got guys that can knock down some threes and get to the bucket. So he's still going to be a huge focal point, and he's going to be the main person on whether or not Central Michigan does have that special season that everybody's hoping for.
Adam Jaska, the voice of the Central Michigan Chippewas, is our guest. It's your scouting report brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Jack Furrier, since 1960, we're here to get you there. Adam, obviously you guys picked to finish 8th in the preseason MAC poll. Was that lower than expected, about what expected, disappointing in that, coming off like what you said was a bounce-back season last year?
Yeah, it's very disappointing. But again, you know how it goes. I mean, it's so difficult, especially at the mid-major level with all of the transfers. You're going off basically who came back from last year. And you know, Central Michigan lost a bunch of pieces, but they also, you talk to the coaching staff, they upgraded in a lot of the pieces that they lost. And that's, again, just how things go. You do well, you're kind of selling those recruits on 1 or 2 years to get you to a bigger school. That's kind of the pitch nowadays. But yeah, to pick them 8th is pretty ridiculous. Again, expected with them only bringing back a couple of guys. If they're not in the top 4, I'll be shocked. If they're not competing for a MAC championship in March in both the regular season and the tournament, and they're healthy, I also would be shocked. But you know how it goes. It's a long season, and anything can happen, and that's what makes it so compelling, especially in the MAC where it is one bid, you get in. So you play for 3 months and can dominate the regular season, and then it's 3 days in Cleveland, and if you're not cutting down the nets, you're not going to the tournament.
Yeah, that's true. I'm from Cleveland, worked in the market for a number of years, have experienced the MAC basketball tournament during my time there. Always an exciting event there that they have at Rocket Mortgage every single year. I noticed there is one Arizonan on the roster, Trey Phillips, a sophomore out of Brophy Prep in Scottsdale, hasn't gotten into a game this year. What's the plan for Trey moving forward?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think he's a walk-on, so I'm not sure what's going to happen from here on out. But it's always cool that we've got guys from Arizona. I know there's a ton of guys on our football team, or at least a handful, I think, that are from the Phoenix or Arizona area. So this is something that, you know, Tony Barbie likes to do too, not necessarily with Trey because he just got here, but some of the returners, he tries to get them close to a home game, at least one of the non-conference games, you know, because not many teams are going to come up to McGurk Arena and play in Mount Pleasant at the caliber of like an Arizona or a Mississippi State. So you're trying to play some games that guys can get back home and, selfishly speaking, that the broadcaster can enjoy some 80-degree weather and some sun and maybe have some sore calves after a couple of hikes on his way back to Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
I was just about to ask, what have you been doing with all this downtime out here?
Yeah, yesterday was Sabino Canyon, which was gorgeous, 10 miles to go up there and see the awesome views, and been trying out a couple of local restaurants as well. I've got some friends up in the Phoenix area, so visiting them. So I would love to be a regular. How do you get a job down here and live here? Because I'd love to do it someday. Nothing against Michigan, but it's pretty great down here.
It is. I've been here. Trust me, I'm an Ohio kid, and I've been here now for 16 years. So if I don't ever have to go back to Ohio, although my wife tells me we're probably retiring to Ohio, so I'm in the opposite camp. People retire out of Ohio. Apparently, I'm retiring back to Ohio. So it's definitely a beautiful place to be. There is no question about that. Adam, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us. Have a great call, Arizona and Central Michigan.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
And that's the lowdown on the team U of A is about to face on the hardwood. The scouting report has been brought to you by Jack Furrier Tire and Auto. Jack Furrier since 1960. We're here to get you there.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rockin' K, with home savings up to $25,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockinK.com. Designed by nature. Proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Years, the Window Depot has provided the best price and biggest inventory on in-stock windows and doors. The Window Depot is open to the public, so whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, you can shop the enormous warehouse. Browse the shelves with over 1,000 vinyl windows, interior and patio doors, and skylights in several varieties and sizes available to go home today. Shop thewindowdepot.com or find a location near you. The Window Depot, best price, biggest inventory.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 35 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees. Bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including Tucson and Sierra Vista, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 2,200 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after an accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm 4 years in a row tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE EAGLE.
With cooler weather on the way, many of us are turning on our furnaces for the first time this season. We hope everything runs smoothly, but if you notice strange noises, frequent cycling, or no heat at all, give Rightway a call. Right now we're offering a complete system tune-up for just $65, plus a free carbon monoxide test for your peace of mind. Don't wait till it's too late. Call Rightway, 520-549-1914 to schedule your $65 complete system tune-up.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Well, boss, how's the sleigh?
It's amazing. Like it just flew off the showroom floor. Sparkling clean, no chimney dust, and I've never seen his nose so bright.
Recon Auto Detailing.
Recon gift cards to all, and to all a clean ride.
Give Recon Auto Detailing gift cards, and Arizona's premier auto detailing company will come do a basic cleaning or a jaw-dropping full detail, including a ceramic finish for anyone on your list. Get your Recon Auto Detailing gift cards now online at recondetail.com.
Our Window Depot coverage of U of A basketball continues. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show on Wildcats Radio 1290. Now back to your hosts, David Kelly, the Captain Kelvin Ifan, and J.W. Madden.
Back to Basar in the lane. Shovel it underneath. Townsend slams it home.
Good ball movement. Henry Basar put in a position to make a basketball play. He executed perfectly.
Goes to Del Orso. Townsend underneath Owaka. Goes up with a shot and rolls it in.
Big to big post pass. Trey Townsend and Owaka. Nice teammates there.
Yep, that's what is going on when Arizona is at their best at the offensive end of the floor. They are moving the basketball and did so in that win over Sanford to the term of 23 assists. Anytime the Wildcats are over 20 assists, it's going to be a good day generally for Arizona. Anthony Del Orso on why that ball movement is so critical to this team.
I know Tommy's been big on, getting more shots for certain guys and getting the right people taking the right shots at the right time. So I think that's something that really hurt us last game. But that's something that, with time and with reps, we can understand. And that comes down to basketball IQ more than anything. But efficiency is all different ways, not just shooting, not just percentages. It's, when to pass, when not to pass.
And then we mentioned 37 points on the fast break. We'd seen some games for Arizona where they were in single digits. And again, just really getting that ball and looking up the floor. There was one early in the game where that first dunk by Jaden, where it was the ball, long rebound, came out to Deli, and he immediately turned, saw Jaden sprint by him, and got him the ball ahead of the pack. To get the jam. That is what you need for this team offensively. Tommy liked the way that the Wildcats were able to utilize the pass against Sanford.
Listen, they play a high risk, high reward system, and we maybe have the size and the athletes to, against their pressure, to kind of play over the top and throw ahead and then get downhill, and so yeah, I mean. Transition is great, but you also have to be good in the half court. And I thought our ball movement was better just overall today. Just had a little better feel to it. So, and you could say that it showed in the assist numbers, this or that, but just, we were connecting a few more passes, and that's really important. I mean, our the way we play, passing the ball is so important, and and quite frankly, it just hasn't been good enough up to this point. So hopefully we can keep making progress there.
Well, and Jaden Bradley has been a catalyst to that over the last 4 games. He's averaging 5 assists for this team. And anytime, I think he's had 6 in each of the last 2 games. So good to see from the point guard position there, Jaden Bradley being the distributor that the Arizona Wildcats need in this offense. Let's give you the things that we think Arizona will need to do to win today against Central Michigan.
Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, guys, keys to the game for me, a downhill guards. I liked what I saw from Caleb Love, aggressive to the basket. I want to see that continue. We've seen it a lot from Jaden Bradley the last few ball games, him getting to the basket, getting easy shots. Maybe if one thing I'd like to, when we talked about this before, see Jaden kind of add to that is penetrate, draw, and maybe kick a little bit more and find a shooter or two on the outside to get some Wildcats and to get some of those other guys involved in the offense. And really, again, I need this team to take better care of the basketball. The sloppy turnovers are one thing, but the sloppy turnovers are the ones that get underneath my skin. And that 5 turnover in a row thing we had there in the second half of that game, a lot of that was just stupid gamble passes. I want to, they had 14 turnovers, I think, for that game against Sanford. They probably should not have had any more than 10 in that game. So in a game like this, you definitely should not have more than 10 turnovers, and continue to be aggressive on the perimeter defensively. I think we've seen that improve in the last few games, and I'd like to see that continue. Not give up the 3-point shot for Arizona. Kelvin.
First, as you said, scoring in the paint, especially guards playing downhill. I think this team is at its best. I don't think we'll ever be a great 3-point shooting team, but I think us attacking the basket and getting the easy buckets put the other team in foul trouble. It just helps us win. Be physical with the basketball. This is a very physical defensive team, especially on the perimeter. Their guys are long and athletic, not the normal mid-major type of school. These guys are athletic enough to play at a high level, so be strong with the basketball. And don't let up. You have to put your foot on their throat. Every game I watched them, they have fought back and got back into games. They're not going to let up. They're going to play hard the whole game. Well, for Coach Barbie.
Yeah, for me, number one, I think you got to build upon, my theme is building upon, the lessons they learned from Atlantis and moving forward. And you got to feed the bigs in the post. So we talk about guards getting 2 feet in the paint and getting paint touches. Passing the ball, Kelvin, from the perimeter to the post players, one of the most challenging, difficult things to do at this level. Because he likes to play inside out, Coach Lloyd, I think they really need to make a concerted effort, finding Townsend on the block, finding a walk on the block, practice those, especially against a team that may be without a couple of bigs. Going inside today is going to be a big key. And number 2, like you guys both said, the best way this offense looks, the flow offense, is when everybody's looking for each other. So you got to see that number be 18, 20 assists. And most importantly, from multiple guys, seeing multiple guys finding each other in scoring position. And number 3, build upon those lessons of defending that 3-point line that we saw them have deficiencies at times this year, leaving guys open. Continue to make sure that you're disciplined on your rotations. Make sure you don't leave guys open. That's the last thing you can do against a team coming in with a 28-point spread. You got to make sure they don't get confidence. Don't leave guys wide open. Close out hard. And those are my keys today for the Wildcats to get a win.
All right, keys to the game. There you go.
Wildcats fans, that's our keys to the game. Brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different. The foundation of a great college basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rockin' K, a master plan community designed by nature.
All right, your Arizona Wildcats sometimes we don't know what the starting lineup is going to be. We got a little bit of a surprise the last time out with Anthony Del Orso being in there, but we do know it's going to be Caleb Love at 1 guard out of St. Louis, Missouri, and we've also got Jaden Bradley, your point guard, 6'3", out of Rochester, New York. We'll go with Anthony Del Orso, 3-guard play, new 3-guard play out of Melbourne, Australia at 6'6". And your forwards, Trey Townsend, 6'6", out of Oxford, Michigan, and Toby Awaka, 6'8", out of Hyde Park, New York. Those are your starting lineups, and that wraps up our show for today. Coming up next, Arizona, Central Michigan for the first time ever on the basketball floor. We'll be back with you post-game. Join us for that. Enjoy it, everybody. Bear down, Arizona.
Our Window Depot coverage of Arizona basketball continues. This is Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Hour 3 of the pregame show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, Drain Medics, First Choice Pools, Goldberg and Osborne the Injury Lawyers, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Showtime Sports Cards, Tucson Police Department, and by Meridian Wealth Management. Wealth well managed, life well lived.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at CoolWillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. CoolWillies.com.